Today was nothing special for the people of Konoha. The sun was high, and everything about the day felt plain. The air wasn't too hot or too cold, the skies were clear but not remarkable, and overall it was just another ordinary afternoon. Everyone went about their business as usual, from the villagers to the shinobi, even the Hokage and ANBU. Everyone, that is, except one boy, Naruto Uzumaki. While wandering, Naruto stumbled across something hidden and very old. He had been running away from a few Chunin who were chasing him for pulling one of his usual pranks. At only 6 years old, Naruto had still managed to slip away from them with ease. In truth, the Chunin weren't trying too hard, but Naruto didn't need to know that. His escape ended when the ground beneath him suddenly collapsed, dropping him into an unknown place. "This place, it's so big, dark, and dusty," Naruto muttered, not questioning how he could even see inside. "Maybe I'll find some amazing jutsu here that'll make me Hokage," he shouted with excitement before rushing to explore. He dug through shelves of scrolls and tomes until one book in particular caught his eye: Cosmic Energy. Being Naruto, the title sounded awesome enough for him to sit down right on the stone floor and crack it open. Luckily for him, the book wasn't too complicated and even had drawings, making it easy enough for someone like him to understand. Hours passed as he flipped through page after page, focusing with more determination than usual. When he finally reached the end, he slammed the book shut and stretched his arms out triumphantly. He didn't even notice that he hadn't felt hungry or thirsty this whole time, the strange atmosphere of the place masking his basic needs. "I did it, now I just gotta figure out how to leave," he cheered. But first, he pulled off his small pack, grabbed some instant ramen and scarfed it down in seconds. With no clear exit and only rubble above him, he eventually sat cross-legged and decided to meditate, recalling that the book mentioned meditation as a way to gain clarity, something it called enlightenment. After nearly 12 hours, Naruto was still sitting there. During that time, his mind slipped deep into the strange flow of cosmic energy. The aura of the archive seemed to strip away hunger, thirst, and even his wandering thoughts. One idea looped endlessly in his head. Didn't Old Man Hokage say meditation builds spiritual energy? But this book says cosmic energy is different, stronger. It can replace both spiritual and physical energy. As more and more cosmic energy swirled inside him, Naruto lost control. His body convulsed as if drowning in it. The meditation snapped, and a violent surge of light burst from his core, scattering like every color of the spectrum erupting at once. Inside Naruto's mindscape, why am I in a sewer? Wasn't I in that library? Maybe I'm dreaming, whatever. When I get out, everyone's gonna see my new cosmic powers," Naruto shouted, running forward with reckless excitement. "And when they ask how I did it, I'll just say, 'That's my secret,'" he laughed, charging ahead without a thought. Enlightenment clearly didn't equal maturity. After a few minutes of careless running, he smacked headfirst into a massive set of iron bars. Falling back, he rubbed his head and squinted inside the cage only to freeze when he saw the monstrous fox glaring back at him. The Ninetales studied Naruto in silence, its crimson eyes glowing as if piercing through his soul. Naruto trembled, knees shaking, trying not to wet himself under the beast's gaze. "Do you know why you're here?" the fox finally spoke, its deep voice echoing like thunder. "No," Naruto stuttered nervously. "It's because of cosmic energy," the fox explained. "Long ago, Jinchuriki, before you tried to use it against me, the first used positive cosmic energy, it weakened me. The second used negative cosmic energy, it strengthened me. But you drew in raw, unrefined cosmic energy. That makes beings like me submit. It's the only reason I'm even talking to you." "Awesome. That means I've mastered it already, right?" Naruto's grin returned. "No," the beast replied flatly. "It only means that with cosmic energy you have me bound to you." "Then, who exactly are you?" Naruto asked, scratching his head. The Ninetales inwardly groaned. "I am the nine-tailed fox." "But everyone said the fourth Hokage killed you," Naruto exclaimed in shock. "He didn't kill me. He sealed me inside you," the fox corrected coldly. Naruto's chest tightened. Why me? You were born then, your chakra pathways undeveloped. That made you the perfect vessel," the fox said without care. "So the fourth picked me to keep you locked away and protect the village," Naruto muttered, piecing it together. "That's one way to put it," Naruto's sadness quickly shifted to excitement. That's amazing. I was chosen to save the whole village from you, the Ninetales huffed. Believe what you like, but there's more. You don't just carry me, there's also a powerful red dragon sealed inside you. What? Naruto yelped. You heard me, a dragon, the beast repeated. That's actually pretty cool, Naruto admitted. Perhaps, but using its power is very different from mine. Naruto shrugged. Details don't matter, I'll figure it out. The fox sighed. Fine, listen. Cosmic energy is superior to chakra, but it works differently. It replaces your physical and spiritual energy, meaning you can forge an even stronger form of chakra. It can also enhance your body and mind far beyond normal limits. Naruto's attention wavered, though he tried to listen. Got that? The fox asked. Ooh, you didn't catch a word, did you? Correct, Naruto admitted proudly. The fox deadpanned. All right, simpler then. Cosmic energy makes your chakra stronger and boosts your abilities. Use it right and it'll even sharpen your mind. Got it, Naruto replied with a grin. 6 years later at the academy, the classroom was silent as students hunched over their written exam. Everyone worked with deep focus, except for two. Shikamaru Nara had already dozed off, true to his lazy nature. Naruto Uzumaki, on the other hand, sat calmly in meditation, dark-tinted goggles hiding his closed eyes. Both had breezed through the test in minutes and were now waiting patiently. About half an hour later, the rest of the class finally finished. Some looked relieved, others anxious, and Sasuke Uchiha wore his usual smug expression. All right, that's the end of the written exam. Next is the combat test, Uruka announced, stirring Shikamaru awake and snapping Naruto from meditation. Naruto stretched, leaning on his desk, waiting for instructions. Everyone outside. We'll begin the sparring matches now, Uruka said. The students eagerly shuffled out to the training grounds. Naruto was the first to leave, leaping into the branches of a nearby tree. Settling onto a limb, he crossed his legs and resumed his meditative pose, silently preparing himself for what was to come. All right, the rules are simple. No weapons, no pets, and no jutsu. This is strictly a taijutsu exercise. The first match will be... That's when Naruto stopped paying attention to Uruka's words and instead slipped into meditation, channeling cosmic energy. He still kept an eye on the sparring matches, but Uruka's announcements were nothing more than background noise. One of Naruto's biggest realizations was that with meditation, he could block out sound entirely, focusing only on movements whenever he chose. After watching a handful of unimpressive bouts and a few that weren't too bad, Naruto Uzumaki, Uruka called, just as Naruto tuned back in, catching his name at the right moment. He leapt from his perch on a tree branch into the sparring area, standing across from none other than the village's Uchiha prodigy. So, it's you I'm facing. This should be interesting. Naruto muttered under his breath, ready to get started. Outwardly, he only wore a confident smirk, which made several kunoichi in training, Hinata especially, blush and swoon a little. He didn't even bother to take a fighting stance. He stood there lazily, goggles on, smirk still in place, taunting Sasuke with a look that said he wasn't impressed. Sasuke, by contrast, immediately assumed his clan's signature posture. He lacked the Sharingan, but he carried himself seriously. He wasn't smirking either, his expression was calm, controlled. For all his arrogance, Sasuke wasn't foolish, even he could tell the odds weren't in his favor. Naruto, in his sleeveless crimson shirt that had once been white earlier in the year, radiated a predatory aura. His lean, muscular frame and the ominous shade of his shirt gave off a vibe that made it feel like he was the hunter, and Sasuke the prey. Are both fighters ready? Uruka asked. Naruto gave him a look which Uruka understood as confirmation, then turned to Sasuke in his stance. Begin, Uruka declared, stepping out of the way. The two stood motionless for a few seconds, eyes locked. Sasuke broke the silence first, rushing forward with a punch aimed at Naruto's head. Naruto casually redirected it with his palm, forcing it aside. Sasuke followed up with a roundhouse kick to the side of Naruto's face, but Naruto simply caught the leg with his right hand. Holding Sasuke's wrist in one hand and his leg in the other, Naruto hurled him into the air, spinning. As Sasuke came down, Naruto thrust an elbow upward into his gut with brutal precision, then extended his arm to slam him into the ground on his right. Sasuke landed hard, rolling onto his back, when Naruto stepped forward and pressed his boot down on the Uchiha's chest. The message was clear. Naruto had dominated the fight before it even had a chance to begin. That was quick, students whispered to each other, though Shikamaru was the one who voiced it aloud, sounding uncharacteristically impressed. Winner, Naruto Uzumaki, Uruka announced, though the outcome had been obvious from the moment it started. Naruto returned to his spot on the tree branch, one leg dangling lazily in his cargo pants and combat boots. He didn't go back to meditating, just sat there waiting for the rest of the duels to wrap up. Once the final match ended, the class was guided back inside for the ninjutsu and genjutsu exams. Students were called in alphabetically, one by one, to a separate room. Just as Uruka was about to call Naruto's name, a knock came at the door. 4 ANBU entered, followed by Kakashi Hadake. We're here to handle Naruto's test. The reason is classified, Kakashi explained with his trademark eye smile. Uruka began to respond, but Naruto was already at the door, waiting to leave before his teacher had even addressed him. He followed the ANBU and Kakashi out, leaving the class buzzing with gossip, envy, and rumors. None were more frustrated than Sasuke, who hated the idea of Naruto being given special treatment he felt was rightfully his. They escorted Naruto straight to the Hokage's office, where the third sat waiting. "Show us your abilities," the Hokage commanded with authority. The moment the order was given, Kakashi and the ANBU activated barrier seals, preventing anyone outside from sensing or spying on what was about to happen. "All right then," Naruto lifted his goggles, revealing eyes so intense and overwhelming that the entire room stiffened. Their sheer power was enough to inspire fear in anyone unprepared to handle them. The following day at the academy, Naruto sat in meditation at his usual seat, though it no longer felt like his desk. He wore the same pants and boots, but his shirt was now a dark crimson purple, paired with a trench coat and a jet-black forehead protector tied around his neck. Across the room, Sasuke was seething, having no clue what Naruto's special test had been. For 2 hours, Naruto had completely ignored him, something Sasuke couldn't stand. Their new teacher finally arrived, gravity-defying silver hair and mask in place. "Sorry I'm late, but a black cat crossed my path, so I had to take a detour," Kakashi said casually. Everyone reacted with disbelief, except Naruto, who didn't care at all. The others included Sasuke and Sakura, who both stared. "Meet me on the roof. This room is too dull," Kakashi added before vanishing in a puff of smoke. Naruto disappeared instantly as well, leaving Sasuke and Sakura to take the stairs. By the time they arrived, Naruto was already seated cross-legged, calmly meditating while Kakashi observed him. Outwardly, Kakashi was relaxed, but inside he couldn't ignore the pressure Naruto exuded. The boy's presence made even him feel lesser, as though Naruto's very existence overshadowed his own. Behind those goggles lay a mystery Kakashi couldn't read, his emotionless look as blank as an ANBU mask. He had felt those eyes once already, and he knew the overwhelming chakra leaking behind them wasn't something normal. Relief washed over him when Sakura and Sasuke finally showed up, breaking his train of thought. "Introductions first," Kakashi said, sounding as uninterested as ever. "Why don't you go first, sensei?" "Set an example," Sakura suggested with fake innocence, trying to look cute for Sasuke. Sasuke internally scoffed. "She's so useless," he thought bitterly. "My name's Kakashi Hadake. I like some things, dislike others, and I have dreams I'd rather not share," Kakashi answered plainly. Sasuke facepalmed, while Sakura looked surprised. "Pinky, you're next," Kakashi said without hesitation. Sakura pouted at the nickname but complied. "I'm Sakura Haruno. I like Sasuke, I dislike Naruto, and my dream is to marry Sasuke one day tilde." Naruto didn't even blink at the statement, clearly uninterested. "Fangirl, you're done. Avenger, your turn," Kakashi pushed. Sasuke straightened up. "I'm Sasuke Uchiha. I enjoy proving my superiority. I dislike being underestimated, and my ambition is to kill 2 specific people." His tone was serious enough to make Kakashi grimace. "And lastly, Mr. Genin," Kakashi muttered, stopping short of calling Naruto blonde after catching his chilling gaze. Naruto looked up slowly. "I'm Naruto Uzumaki. I enjoy assassination and a variety of other things. I dislike plenty. My dream is to become the greatest assassin alive." Both Sakura and Sasuke were stunned, though Sasuke masked his surprise. That wraps up introductions. Tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. sharp, we'll do a special test. Don't eat breakfast, or you'll regret it. See you then. Kakashi vanished again in smoke, clearly eager to put distance between himself and Naruto. Naruto gave a short nod and disappeared as well, leaving Sasuke and Sakura behind once more. Later, at the hidden Namikaze estate, Naruto refined his new techniques, double-checking their effectiveness before continuing his usual nightly routine. Next morning, 7 a.m., Naruto showed up to the training field an hour ahead of schedule, mostly because he had woken up around 4 a.m. and after scarfing down 2 breakfasts, had nothing else to keep him busy. As was his habit, Naruto perched himself up in a tree and slipped into meditation. Not long after, he picked up on the chakra signatures of his teammates along with another presence attempting to mask itself, though doing a poor job, since Naruto understood how to truly hide such energy. By the time the unknown chakra was about to reveal itself, close to midday, Naruto leapt from the tree. The sudden movement startled Sakura, but Sasuke remained unfazed. Almost at once, Kakashi materialized in front of them. Okay, time for a survival drill. He held up 2 small bells and set a timer atop one of the 3 wooden posts standing behind him. Only those who get a bell will pass. Those who don't will not only go hungry, but be sent back to the academy. And yes, Sakura, there are just 2 bells. The bells jingled as he clipped them back onto his belt. Come at me with the intention to kill, Kakashi warned, unaware of the situation he had just created for himself. Sasuke and Sakura immediately vanished into the trees, while Naruto remained rooted in place. Rather than chase, he unleashed a massive army of shadow clones that spilled across the training ground like a flood of blonde and crimson. Each clone armed itself with a kunai and rushed Kakashi before he could even reach for his little orange book. Kakashi handled the duplicates one after another with relative ease, thanks to their low chakra reserves. But as he carved through nearly 500 copies, the true Naruto sat deep within the forest, surrounded by 5 clones in a pentagram pattern, each of them sitting cross-legged a few feet apart. They were preparing something new. Heavy chakra pooled around them, each clone radiating a faint aura, while waves of killing intent spread outward to keep wildlife at bay. After several minutes of silence, the real Naruto whipped through a series of hand signs and slammed his palms together. Darkness surged as shadows converged and erupted skyward, forming a dome that swallowed Training Ground 7 in absolute black. Inside this suffocating void, Naruto stood in the center, encircled by his 5 doppelgangers. A grin tugged at his lips, thrilled to finally release this technique. Unique jutsu, absolute night, they declared in unison. The original Naruto rose, lifted his goggles, and revealed eerie eyes, brilliant irises glowing white with pupils fused into them, framed by lilac-colored sclera. With predatory speed, Naruto dashed toward Kakashi. His special vision pierced the endless dark as though it were broad daylight, an advantage greater than what even the Sharingan could provide under normal conditions. With Kakashi, the darkness gnawed at Kakashi's patience. His Sharingan allowed him to faintly make out moving shapes within 15 feet, enough to anticipate and parry, but it was far from perfect. Thus far, he had relied only on kunai and footwork, saving his jutsu. Then came a rapid series of poofs, followed by a storm of kunai from every direction. Kakashi dropped low, catching that many of them weren't real, when another clone appeared behind him and kicked him straight back into the barrage. Each kunai transformed into fists and feet, pounding his body relentlessly until the final clone dissipated, leaving Kakashi bruised but still on his feet. Years in ANBU had hardened him. He could endure. Seems I underestimated him far too much, he admitted grimly. And then he saw them, those eyes, luminous in the void, radiating predatory dominance. Fear crawled up his spine as his Sharingan began to falter. His perception dimmed until all he could see was those merciless eyes boring into him. Damn! The next instant, Naruto lunged with a massive blade. Kakashi blocked with his kunai, barely preventing a fatal strike, but the impact sent him skidding back. A second sword came from the opposite angle, grazing his ribs as he twisted. Soon the attacks escalated into a vicious storm of slashes, forcing Kakashi against a tree. Both blades pressed against his throat, and the boy's terrifying eyes glared into his soul. Wooden arms suddenly erupted from the ground, pinning Kakashi in place. Another limb snatched the bells and flung them toward Naruto, the jingling giving away their path. As soon as Naruto caught them, the technique dissolved, shadows retreating as he slid his goggles back down. Kakashi, still trembling faintly, covered his Sharingan once more. The blades vanished in a puff of smoke, replaced by another wooden arm holding a sharpened spike against his neck. Swallowing his pride, Kakashi admitted defeat. The wooden binds then crumbled harmlessly away. "Naruto, you've secured the bells and lunch for yourself. Well done." Before he could finish, Sasuke and Sakura arrived beside Naruto. Without hesitation, Naruto tossed each of them a bell, turned, and walked off silently. That was the most selfless gesture I've ever seen, Kakashi thought, though Naruto's real motive was much sharper. "Wait, Naruto," Sakura and Sasuke called. When he turned, they both held the bells back out to him. "I can't accept this unless I earned it myself," Sasuke muttered, pride laced with stubborn humility. Sakura simply nodded in agreement, though her reasoning was entirely different. Naruto gave a small smirk. "Nice sentiment, but think harder. Did you notice how he stressed the word single-handedly? That wasn't just him mocking you, it was a hint. There's no such thing as a one-man or two-man squad." Both of them finally realized the truth, while Kakashi clapped his hands together, impressed. "Excellent work. From today on, you're officially Team 7. Sakura cheered, Sasuke cracked a rare smile, and Naruto smirked in quiet victory. Deep inside, however, he knew the reality. Without training, his teammates would die in the field. He would protect them, but only to a point. Konoha, Hokage's office, weeks passed since Team 7 had been formed. Naruto Uzumaki, Sasuke Uchiha, and his devoted admirer Sakura Haruno. To some, they were reminiscent of the Sannin. To others, they looked like the most dysfunctional squad imaginable. They lacked Team 8's tracking prowess, though Naruto excelled in that. They weren't as physically polished as Team 9, though again Naruto was. And unlike Team 10, their abilities didn't blend well together, except for Naruto, who often carried them. Now, at last, their first C-rank assignment awaited. The third Hokage sifted through mission scrolls before handing one to Kakashi. Just then, a knock came at the door. That must be the client. The door creaked open to reveal an old man, clearly drunk, leaning on the frame with a bottle of sake in his hand. "These are the BR," Tazuna began, his gaze sliding over Sakura and Sasuke. But the moment his eyes locked onto Naruto, his words died. The alcohol haze vanished, replaced with pure terror, as if simply standing before the boy would make him wet himself. Tazuna glanced over the team with a half-smirk. "Those two look like a comedy act," he muttered, nodding toward Pinky and Duckbutt. "But that one, yeah, just one glare from him, and I bet any small-time thug would run off." "What's your name, kid?" he asked Naruto, voice unusually sweet. "Name's Naruto," the goggled boy answered coldly, already irritated by how fake the old man sounded. "Ah, good to meet you, Naruto." "I'm Tazuna," the bridge builder said with oily politeness. "Our job is to escort Tazuna to the land of waves, right?" Kakashi stated, though it came off like half a question. "Yes, that's correct." "C-rank," the third responded in his worn-out voice. "All right, squad, let's move," Kakashi said casually, waving them forward with Tazuna in tow. The group split for a while to pack their things. Naruto carried practical supplies, Sasuke grabbed weapons and clothes, and Sakura, well, hers was all beauty products. Eventually, they regrouped at the gate, ready for departure. "To the land of waves," Kakashi announced, leading the way. After hours of walking, with Sakura chattering nonstop to Tazuna in the most irritating tone possible, they came across a puddle. Naruto's sharp eyes caught it immediately. He analyzed the situation, stayed quiet, and prepared himself. As they passed it, two shinobi suddenly leapt forward, chains wrapping around Naruto. They tugged hard, but something felt off. When they looked back, their eyes widened. The boy was holding them at bay with just his forearms, which gleamed like black polished metal. The demon brothers were stunned. The chain hadn't pierced his skin, and Naruto was effortlessly holding them off. Realizing brute force wasn't working, they released the chain and lunged at him with their claws. Naruto caught both their hands in an iron grip, cracking their gauntlets with ease. In one smooth motion, he slammed their skulls together, knocking them out instantly. Guess I misjudged their armor. Too flimsy, Naruto muttered to himself. Sasuke scowled in silent jealousy, while Sakura pouted because Sasuke hadn't done anything cool. Kakashi approached cautiously. Naruto, why are you looking at them like that? Simple, I'm deciding if I want their bounty. Should I take their heads or leave them tied up? Naruto said, tone detached. Kakashi frowned. That's not exactly ethical. I didn't ask about ethics, Red Eye, I'm talking efficiency. What's quicker, leaving them for others or chopping their heads and sending a clone? Surprised, Kakashi adapted his tone. Depends. Do you want the bounty fast, or would you rather avoid the hassle? Naruto tapped his chin, weighing his options. He remembered how he once tricked Mizuki using a wood clone, had it steal the forbidden scroll, and learned shadow clones. Since then, he'd been stockpiling jutsu. Efficient, ruthless, exactly how he liked it. Yeah, heads it is, Naruto finally decided. In one clean strike, his chakra-imbued trench knives sliced through both assassins' necks. And that's finished, the blonde Jinchuriki said coldly. Sasuke, Sakura, and Tazuna flinched at the sight, though Kakashi remained impassive. Naruto sealed the heads into scrolls, handing one to a wood clone, which transformed into a falcon and took flight, scroll clutched in its talons. Kakashi couldn't hide his intrigue. His students' knowledge and ruthlessness were frightening but impressive. Naruto then turned on Tazuna. All right, old man, quit hiding things. What's the truth? Tazuna sighed. I'm building a bridge. A man named Gato doesn't want it finished, so he's hired killers. That's an A-rank problem, Kakashi muttered. We may need to, Naruto was already walking ahead. Stop dragging your feet. You coming or not? Sasuke and Sakura, oddly encouraged, followed. Kakashi sighed and fell into formation. They continued toward Wave, traveling through rivers and marshes. Naruto walked across water with ease, only making Sasuke angrier. Soon, a dense mist rolled in, thick and heavy with killing intent. Everyone froze. Kakashi tensed. It reminded him of Naruto's pitch-black technique, the one that had haunted his nightmares. Naruto calmly removed his goggles. The others froze at his eyes, cold, predatory, terrifying. Sakura trembled, Tazuna nearly lost control, and even Sasuke felt fear he'd never admit. Naruto's gaze cut through the fog like it wasn't even there. His blackened arm shot up, catching a massive sword by the blade midair. Not bad, kid, a voice echoed. Demon of the Mist Zabuza Mamachi. Finally, a real fight, Naruto said with a grin. Oh, a cocky brat, huh? Let's see how long that lasts. Zabuza froze when he locked eyes with Naruto. Fear shot through him. The boy's killing intent poured out like a tidal wave, suffocating. Kakashi's skin crawled, Sakura and Sasuke nearly wet themselves, and Tazuna was shaking uncontrollably. Naruto hurled the sword back. Zabuza barely caught it before charging again. Naruto blocked and countered with a brutal punch that sent him skidding. What the hell's with his arm? Zabuza thought, staring at the metallic shine. Strong brat, tell me, what happened to the demon brothers? Zabuza asked. Cut them down for the bounty, Naruto replied flatly. Zabuza smirked darkly, brutal but believable. He lunged again, only for Sakura's scream to cut through the clash. Sasuke, help! She cried as Zabuza's clones swarmed, restraining Sasuke and Kakashi. Naruto, locked in battle, ignored their plight entirely. Zabuza lunged straight at Naruto, assuming the boy's attention was elsewhere because of his team's desperate cries. Instead, he was jolted into a harsh surprise when the massive blade struck against Naruto's bare arm, sparks flying from the impact. Oh, you really thought I cared about my squad? Let's break it down. Kakashi's been holding back from the start, brooding with his revenge-driven attitude and too much pride to actually fight properly. Duckboy is too focused on proving himself and it ruins his judgment. And as for Pinky, well, she's dead weight. I could step in and help, but it came down to a choice, me or them. Guess who I picked? The predatory blonde spoke with a cold, cutting voice while his gaze locked onto Zabuza's, freezing him in place. Naruto's smaller frame twisted unnaturally as his arm stretched outward, his skin warping like rubber before snapping back. His body flushed pink, steam rolling off in waves as his energy spiked. He whipped his fist back and accidentally connected with one of Zabuza's water clones, shattering it instantly and freeing Kakashi. The blonde's elongated arm slowly recoiled while his expression shifted. his features briefly changing into another face, scar resting beneath the left eye, and then the words came. Gum gum jet. The extended arm vanished from sight, only to slam into Zabuza with brutal force, launching him straight into a tree trunk. Pistol! Zabuza was left stunned, unsure of what he'd just witnessed. Naruto's empowered aura faded as he calmly approached the man pinned to the tree. Zabuza's massive cleaver had fallen and embedded into the ground. Naruto grabbed it effortlessly, hoisted it up, and swung downward, the blade stopping just before Zabuza's neck. You were a solid opponent, but you let me mess with your head. I hit you in the same spot twice, felt some bones crack, big mistake. Still, don't worry. Once I cash in your bounty, I'll carry this sword in your memory. The would-be assassin spoke darkly before a senbon needle pierced Zabuza's neck, cutting him off as the demon of the mist went limp. What the hell? He's down. Who stole my kill? Naruto demanded, scanning the area, his expression noticeably lighter as if a burden had been removed. That would be me, answered a hunter nin who appeared beside Zabuza's body. They collected both the man and his blade before vanishing. I hate hunter nin, especially when they're in league with the ones they're supposed to take down. Naruto muttered with annoyance, pulling his goggles over his eyes again. The team regrouped and formed their usual turtle-like formation, Naruto strolling ahead casually with his hands shoved into his pockets. The rest noticed the drastic shift in his demeanor, confused by how someone could act so different yet remain the same person in front of them. Eventually, they arrived at Tazuna's home. His daughter expressed her gratitude, her eyes lingering on Naruto in a way Sasuke didn't appreciate. She welcomed them in and offered a warm meal. You'll all need more training, Kakashi said casually, directing the words to Sasuke and Sakura. He trusted Naruto understood as well. The two he addressed glanced at him, while Naruto kept eating, silent but clearly attentive. Still, he had no intention of participating in whatever training Kakashi had in mind for the others. Tomorrow, I'll start drilling you both so you're at least capable of handling Zabuza's underlings, Kakashi instructed. I'll scout the surroundings, map the area, and maybe even figure out where Zabuza's hiding, not that it matters. He's hiding because he's afraid of me, Naruto muttered mostly to himself, already set on doing it regardless of opinions. Just then Inari, Tazuna's grandson, entered, visibly angry. You people Dawn, he began, only to freeze when Naruto's eyes bore into him. What was that? Naruto asked, his tone unnervingly calm. And nothing, Inari stammered, his legs trembling as he retreated quickly. What did you do to him? Sakura asked, confused. Nothing complicated. I scared him so badly that even if he cried, he believed I'd kill him. That's fear mixed with respect, Naruto explained flatly. That level of intimidation, Kakashi and Sasuke thought simultaneously, realizing how terrifyingly efficient Naruto was. His presence alone could instill awe and dread. If he ever lost control, his killing intent would smother everyone indiscriminately, but luckily, he had mastered restraint. When the meal ended, they all retired. Naruto's clones kept watch through the night, ensuring silence reigned. The next day, Kakashi began instructing Sasuke and Sakura, outlining their flaws, what they needed, and why Naruto required none of it. Naruto passed by on his way to his own training. Care to give us a demo, Naruto? Kakashi asked, gesturing at a tree. Fine, Naruto replied casually. He loved proving his dominance, especially over Sasuke. Without effort, he walked up the trunk and squatted comfortably 15 feet above the ground. He closed his eyes and began meditating. Sasuke burned with irritation but also respect, while Sakura could only admire. Satisfied with their determination, Kakashi joined Naruto at the top, standing on a branch. Naruto sensed him but paid little attention, his mind focused inward. Using what he called the cosmic eye, Naruto searched across the land for Zabuza and his ally. He found traces, but held back, wanting their next clash to be at full power. Leaping off the tree, he disappeared into the woods to train. He summoned 2,000 shadow clones, each group taking on separate tasks, some drilling techniques, others element manipulation, while a few worked with wind, water, earth, and wood. Meanwhile, Naruto himself increased his gravity seal and conjured a massive sword to sharpen his kenjutsu, intending to outmatch Zabuza in his own art. The repetition was grueling, his muscles screaming, but pain meant progress. Hours later, he dragged himself back toward Tazuna's house, body drained of chakra and strength. You do realize all this exhaustion could be healed if you just release my chakra, right? Kurama's voice echoed from the seal. What's the point of that? Naruto muttered. You'd still keep your training results. You sealed me away, but if you let me out, you'd recover while retaining everything you gained, the fox argued. That defeats the purpose. I'm hiding my chakra from the Akatsuki, and I handicap myself so I don't rely on Uzumaki perks. Makes me work harder, Naruto replied firmly. Kurama was caught off guard by the boy's nobility. Despite being seen as a monster, Naruto willingly limited himself to grow through effort alone. At least remove the gravity seal when you're done, idiot, Kurama added dryly. Naruto flushed with embarrassment at the obvious oversight and quickly deactivated it, picking up his pace toward the house. He grabbed some food, stuffed himself, and collapsed into bed. Only Kakashi stirred at his entrance, but upon seeing it was Naruto, he returned to sleep. Konoha Tilda the Hawkage sat in his office, eyes narrowing as he reread the contents of a mission report. Dawn had just broken, and the third's expression was unreadable as he carefully scanned the document again, one that had reached him the previous day. Naruto took out the Demon Brothers himself, and now they're pushing this to a high-level B, maybe even A-rank mission. That brat's growing dangerous fast. The elderly Hawkage lifted his gaze toward a framed photo of Minato Namikaze, the fourth, then sighed and called for Team 9. Before they arrived, he scribbled a new message about Naruto, sealed it, and handed it off to one of Naruto's clones. The clone bolted out the window, transforming into a peregrine falcon mid-leap, streaking across the sky toward Naruto's location. Unbelievable, that kid's a genius, Sarutobi muttered, moments before being told that Team 9 had arrived. With a nod, he ordered them to be shown in. With Naruto awoke to find the others already downstairs, so he joined them at the table, wolfed down his breakfast without a word, and headed outside. Settling before the tree line, he began meditating. Moments later, a scroll dropped into his lap as the falcon landed, reverted back into his clone, and disintegrated with a faint cracking sound. Opening his eyes, Naruto took the scroll, read it carefully, then walked back inside and tossed it toward Kakashi. Tell me about Team 9, Sensei, Naruto requested once Kakashi had finished reading. Their leader is Might Guy, loud, eccentric, obsessed with training, and frighteningly strong physically. Rock Lee is his disciple, Neji Hyuga is a natural prodigy, and Tenten specializes in weapons, Kakashi replied in his usual flat tone. Naruto's eyes narrowed. So they're capable, but which one's the fastest? Kakashi thought for a moment before answering. If I know Guy, and unfortunately I do, he's probably made Lee fight with weighted gear. A grin tugged at Naruto's lips at that. He headed back to his training grounds, where he began his daily regimen. Today, he strapped on 20-pound bands to each wrist, a 100-pound vest on his torso, and similar weights on his ankles. Instead of flashy drills, he worked through punishing routines, handstand push-ups, hanging crunches, inverted squats, before moving on to practicing with the gear until it felt natural. Once warmed up, he shifted back into meditation, drawing in energy. Through meditation, he tapped into the mysterious cosmic energy, refining it into a unique chakra blend. This cosmic chakra bolstered his body and spirit, though in excess it dulled his emotions, one reason for his cold demeanor back in the academy. Satisfied, Naruto created 1,000 shadow clones, divided them into groups, and had them train various chakra control techniques: leaf balancing, tree climbing, water walking, and more. A handful of clones were designated to meditate and cycle chakra back into him, while wood clones armed themselves to spar endlessly with rotating weapons. Massive swords, scythes, daggers, chains, anything and everything. 10 more clones worked strictly on research, compiling intel on allies, enemies, and potential rivals. The Hyuga's Byakugan and the Uchiha's Sharingan were both studied in detail. Naruto wasn't reckless enough to underestimate anyone blindly. Each day, he increased his weights by 20 pounds, determined to sharpen his edge until the inevitable clash with Zabuza. He trained deep in the ominous forest, where no one dared to follow. Meanwhile, Teams 7 and 8 stood watch over Tazuna at the bridge. Kakashi stepped forward, introducing his squad. I am Kakashi Hadake. These are Naruto Uzumaki, Sasuke Uchiha, and Sakura Haruno. Guy followed with his booming enthusiasm. I am the vibrant Might Guy. With me are Neji Hyuga, Rock Lee, and Tenten. Lee's eyes sparkled at Sakura, while glaring at Sasuke as a rival. He gave Naruto a respectful nod. Neji scoffed at the group, though his eyes lingered warily on Naruto. Tenten kept quiet, though she too couldn't shake a chill when her gaze fell on him. Sakura remained neutral, though she dismissed Lee outright. Sasuke, meanwhile, felt both threatened and challenged by Neji. The teams formed their positions, Naruto and Lee at the front, Neji, Sasuke, Tenten, and Sakura near Tazuna, while Kakashi and Guy lingered at the flanks, prepared to intervene. Both Jonins silently trusted their students. Kakashi and Naruto, Guy and Lee. A dense mist soon rolled in, cutting visibility and separating the formations. Lee, don't take these enemies lightly. This is life and death, Naruto warned seriously. Forgive me, Naruto, I must defend him, my lady, Lee cried, charging toward Sakura. Naruto chuckled. Fine. I prefer solo fights anyway. From the haze, 4 figures appeared, Zabuza, Haku, and 2 unknown shinobi. Sliding up his goggles, Naruto recognized one as Ai and the other as Suijutsu, though he didn't know their names. And the extras? Naruto demanded. Suijutsu and Ai, Zabuza introduced. Naruto's killing intent surged, suffocating the air as he barked orders. Neji white hair, Tenten green one. Sasuke mask. Without hesitation, his teammates engaged. Neji's gentle fist struck true, Tenten's chain scythe lashed forward, and Lee swept in with a kick. Naruto darted at Zabuza with greater speed than before, slamming a palm strike into the swordsman's chest, forcing him back. Sasuke leapt at Haku, narrowly grazing him before being countered. So you're finally using teamwork? Zabuza mocked. Naruto grinned darkly. I just want balance. Once you fall, I'll crush your allies too. Don't fool yourself, I could finish all of you if I wanted. Big words, Zabuza spat. Naruto shrugged, tore off his weighted gear, and vanished in a blur. In a flash, his fist and palm slammed into Zabuza's gut and chest, hurling him across the bridge. You got me, but your comrades aren't faring as well, Zabuza rasped. Indeed, Neji and Tenten were holding their ground, but Sasuke was trapped inside a dome of icy mirrors. Sasuke. Kakashi, Guy, keep him pinned until I'm back, Naruto ordered, rushing into the ice dome. The Jonin complied, restraining Zabuza as they watched their students fight with pride. Inside, Naruto caught Sasuke midair as Senbin pierced him. Sasuke cracked his eyes open, only to see Naruto's gaze burning with newfound power. The terror wasn't from the Senbin, but from Naruto's eyes. He had awakened the Sharingan, a single Tamo glowing in each. Before Sasuke could speak, another Senbin pierced through, mixing their blood. Neither realized the significance, as Naruto calmly yanked the needle free and set Sasuke down. Oi, pink eyes. How's it going? Naruto taunted the weakened Uchiha with a smirk. Not well, my Sharingan, it's shutting off, Sasuke confessed, his voice filled with strain as his vision blurred more and more. He was in such dire shape that he couldn't even focus on Naruto's teasing. Beaten down by an ice user, huh? That's gonna sting your pride tomorrow, Naruto remarked while watching the battered Uchiha struggle. I can't end here, Sasuke stammered, forcing himself to rise despite his body screaming at him. But his chakra was almost gone, leaving him unable to maintain even the first stage of his Sharingan. His pale face showed how close he was to collapsing completely. Sleep it off, Naruto muttered before knocking Sasuke unconscious with a clean punch, laying him flat on the ground. He hoped the hit also knocked some arrogance out of the boy. You'll pay dearly for hurting Zabuza, Haku declared coldly, holding a handful of senbin. Naruto simply rose, his gaze locking with the reflection in the mirror. Awa, need to vent your feelings? Go ahead, take it all out on me, Naruto mocked, spreading his arms wide and leaving himself open. Haku unleashed a storm of senbin from every ice mirror, filling the air with steel needles that struck Naruto from all angles. The barrage didn't stop, Haku targeting both vital and non-vital points without hesitation. Yet the needles barely sank into Naruto's skin, many of them failing to pierce at all. When the assault finally ended, Naruto flexed, releasing a wave of chakra that sent every senbin clattering away from his body. That was disappointing, Naruto sighed, clearly unimpressed as he stared at Haku. Then something strange appeared in his eyes. Tomo flickered into existence at the edge of his irises, fading in and out until they stabilized. Haku, confused, thought it might be a genjutsu, only to be cut short when Naruto blitzed forward, slamming a fist into her stomach with terrifying speed. The blow shattered every ice mirror, ripped her mask apart, and sent her flying. Her true face, female, was revealed. After training hard enough to beat Zabuza into the ground, you were nothing. Girl or not, it doesn't change much, Naruto stated flatly as he stepped out of the broken dome. You two have two options: swear yourselves to Konoha or die here, decide. Naruto offered to Zabuza and Haku. Naruto, that's not, Kakashi began, but Naruto's glare, laced with pure killing intent, shut him up immediately. The Jonin nearly lost control of himself under that suffocating presence. So much for peaceful nights, Kakashi shuddered internally. Zabuza glanced at his injured subordinates, realizing they stood no chance. Naruto suddenly kicked Suijutsu clean off the bridge and launched Ai over the railing with one punch, proving the point. The demon of the mist found himself cornered by a genin, his pride shattered beyond repair. Before he could respond, the sound of marching feet drew his attention. Oh look, it's pathetic little Gato. And what's this? Brought an army of nobodies, Naruto mocked, glaring at the crime boss. He already knew he could wipe them all out effortlessly. Approximately T300, Gato stammered, trembling before the boy who had defeated Zabuza alone. And don't bother about the 4 stationed at Tazuna's house, they're already corpses. Naruto grinned wickedly. Then, just as suddenly, his expression turned cold. Releasing his killing intent, Naruto crushed the mercenaries' morale. One after another, men collapsed, wet stains spreading down their legs as fear consumed them. Within moments, all of them had fainted, Gato included, though Naruto held the trembling man by the throat, lifting him high before hurling him into the sea. As unconscious mercenaries were swept away by swirling leaves, Naruto returned to Zabuza. Choose now, stand with me or be cut down, Naruto demanded. Zabuza met Haku's eyes, then gave his answer. I'll follow you, the swordsman declared firmly. Good choice, Naruto replied. Leaves swirled around Zabuza's massive blade, delivering it into the blonde's hands. Gripping it tightly, Naruto infused the weapon with wind chakra and swung, releasing a powerful gust that forced everyone back. A satisfied grin spread across his face as he secured the blade on his back with chakra. Let's move, Naruto ordered, leading both teams back to Tazuna's house. Along the way, they passed Naruto's clones burning the bodies of Gato's men. Since Tazuna's home was too small, Naruto casually used wood style to raise a second building, impressing everyone before they finally rested. Sakura remained awake long enough to bandage Sasuke before collapsing herself. The next morning, Naruto was up at 4, diving back into brutal training, heavier weights, stronger gravity seals, and sparring with wood clones wielding all kinds of weapons, while he practiced with Zabuza's cleaver himself. He knew the Chunin exams were approaching, and he intended to dominate them. His clones kept gathering intel constantly, and to his surprise, he had awakened the Sharingan, possibly from mixing Sasuke's Uchiha blood with his own cosmic chakra. Later, Naruto was waiting at the village gates. Lee had challenged him to a race, and when Kakashi told him to go all out, Naruto removed all his weights and gravity seal, channeled cosmic chakra into his legs, and bolted straight to Konoha, leaving everyone else far behind. While he waited, he sent a clone to fetch ramen, finishing a large bowl before slipping into meditation. His cosmic eye gave him vision even sharper than the Byakugan. Once the others arrived, they headed to the Hokage. So, you wish for Zabuza and Haku to join the Leaf? Hiruzen asked, doubting the proposal. Yes, Haku could join our squad or form a special unit with me. Sasuke and I can confirm she's skilled at least to Genin level. Zabuza can be checked by Inouchi's team for insurance. Naruto explained, his words surprisingly calculated. Unusual, but acceptable. They'll be admitted under watch. Naruto, you'll provide housing until trust is earned. Haku will remain classified as a special ninja for now. The Hokage agreed. ANBU moved to escort the pair, but Naruto stopped them, insisting they be brought to his home afterward. Later, Kakashi gathered his team at Training Ground 7. So, when are the Chunin exams? Naruto suddenly asked. How did you know I was about to bring that up? Kakashi stammered, unnerved. I didn't. Just guessed. Naruto shrugged casually. Kakashi froze. First, the boy humiliated him in battle, then he crushed Zabuza, and now he anticipated Kakashi's words before he even said them. Naruto wasn't a boy anymore. He was something far more terrifying. By the time Kakashi snapped out of it, they were already standing at the same spot they'd once done the bell test. Naruto, to answer your question, the Chunin exams will be happening in about a week. That's why I gathered you all here. Just decide whether you're entering, and I'll let you know the location for the first stage. Kakashi explained calmly. Naruto already had a feeling about what this was leading to, which threw him off a little. Kakashi left things vague and excused himself, vanishing from sight. Not long after, Naruto slipped away too, though to a separate place. The following day, Naruto has shut himself inside his residence. The third Hokage informed Team 7 and their sensei. Wait, Naruto has a residence? Sasuke questioned, suspicious. He does, Hiruzen confirmed. Why he owns it and the details behind it are classified information. Only I, certain trusted individuals, and whomever Naruto himself decides to confide in know the truth. Kakashi was already aware, while Sakura didn't seem to care, still busy focusing on Sasuke. For the time being, Sai will serve as Naruto's temporary replacement until Naruto returns from his personal training. Hiruzen introduced the pale, expressionless boy to the rest of the team. Kakashi accepted their mission scroll, and with Sai and the rest of his team, departed to complete the assignment. Later that day, Naruto was heading back to his home after picking up supplies when he spotted the Hokage's grandson being bullied. He sent the supplies ahead with a shadow clone, then walked toward the sand shinobi dressed in black who had Konohamaru lifted by his scarf. Enough, Kankuro, drop the kid. Temari started to scold her brother, but her voice caught when she locked eyes with the blonde whose presence radiated raw menace. Who they? Kankuro tried to bark out, but his words froze as soon as his eyes met Naruto's. His whole body stiffened under an overwhelming surge of killing intent, unlike anything he had ever felt. Who is this guy? He feels worse than Gaara. Both Sand siblings thought in horrified unison. Kankuro dropped Konohamaru instantly, too shaken to even think. That boy is Konohamaru Sarutobi, grandson of the third Hokage. Harming him is no different from striking at the Hokage himself, Naruto stated icily. He's right, idiot. Gaara appeared with a swirl of sand between his brother and Naruto, his cold voice cutting in. His gaze locked with Naruto's, unaffected outwardly, but deep inside, he and the One-Tail were unsettled. The beast inside Gaara recognized Naruto as the host of the Nine Tails, far stronger than its own vessel. Fear and reluctant respect hit instantly. You'd better keep your teammates in line. Anyway, I'm Naruto. And you? Naruto asked, attempting civility. Gaara, the redhead replied flatly. Though Gaara masked it well, Naruto could sense the fear buried beneath. A smirk tugged at his lips at Gaara's effort to suppress it. Sasuke, arriving with Konohamaru and his friends, witnessed everything. His interest piqued. He was eager to learn more about both Gaara and Naruto. But before he could step in, both disappeared from the scene at the exact same time. Damn it, Sasuke muttered, walking off in frustration. Some time later, Sasuke and Sakura were on their way to the exams when two voices caught their attention. Lee, I'm not fighting you right before the exams. That would put you at a disadvantage, Naruto's voice argued. Don't underestimate me, I can handle myself, Rock Lee declared. Naruto sighed. Fine then, come at me. The two teammates arrived to see Naruto facing off against Lee. He wore a sleeveless crimson shirt, heavy wrist and ankle guards that reached up his forearms and calves, each weighing 100 pounds, along with pants and shoes resembling ANBU attire. His physique looked more defined now. His goggles had been altered as well, crafted to restrain his new Dijutsu, something that would no doubt irritate Sasuke if he found out. On his back was a gravity seal that pushed down on him constantly, though his immense chakra balanced out the usual drawbacks. Lee charged with a sweeping kick, only for his leg to halt dead against Naruto's unmoving one. I may have built up a new defense, but don't think that makes me fragile, Naruto stated confidently. Lee followed up with a flurry of strikes, but none had the slightest effect. Hey, Sasuke, Sakura, Naruto said casually while taking a kick to the head without budging. He pulled out the massive Kubikirabacho. Should I carry this around or keep it sealed away? I think it'd look intimidating if you wore it, Lee answered while still hammering him with kicks. Appreciate it, Lee, Naruto said, slinging the weapon across his back as if it weighed nothing. Sasuke and Sakura could hardly believe how calmly the two carried on, one attacking nonstop, the other barely acknowledging it. It's been fun, Lee, but let's finish this. Naruto caught Lee's leg mid-kick and hurled him into a wall, leaving a deep dent. You're strong, keep training, maybe you'll find a way around my iron skin. I look forward to next time. With that, Naruto walked toward the exam hall. Team 7 regrouped outside the doors, hesitating. Anyone got words of wisdom? Maybe a pep talk? No, fine, let's keep it simple. Naruto smirked before smashing the doors apart with a single kick, splintering them into fragments. He stepped in, turned to the entire room, and shouted, "Yo, how's it going, losers?" The room filled with stares and murmurs. "You've just made quite the scene, and a lot of enemies," an older-looking genin commented, approaching Team 7. "Hell yeah," Naruto answered with a grin, though his sharp instincts immediately warned him about the strange vibe this guy gave off. "My name's Kabuto. I'd like to help you rookies out. I've attempted this exam several times." Kabuto offered with a polite tone. Suspicious, Sasuke asked, "And what exactly do you bring to the table?" "My ninja info cards." Kabuto revealed several special cards, explaining their use. "I want to see information on Rock Lee, Gaara, and Naruto Uzumaki," Sasuke demanded. Kabuto showed what he had, though when it came to Naruto, the details were scarce. "Those seals guarding his property, they're blocking my intel," Kabuto thought, annoyed. Sasuke was equally irritated at the lack of answers. Naruto smirked at Kabuto's frustration. It meant his secrets were still safe. "Sit down, maggots," barked Ibiki Morino as he entered. "I'll be overseeing the first phase of these exams." Once everyone was seated, he explained the written test. To their dismay, it was exactly what they feared, an exam on paper. Naruto sat with Hinata in front of him. Unlike the others who avoided him, she never shied away. He noticed the affection in her eyes, and though it didn't change his ambitions, he felt something for her in return. For now, he'd keep that to himself, but he silently vowed to protect her. Naruto skimmed over the questions, then scanned the room carefully. He caught on quick. The test wasn't about knowing the answers, but about how to get them. Cheating without being caught was the real exam. So Naruto did nothing. He left his paper blank and locked eyes with the proctor, flashing a smirk that rattled Ibiki. Nobody had ever done that before, least of all a genin. Ibiki immediately recognized the blonde genin with goggles who was staring at him with that smug grin. This was none other than Naruto Uzumaki, the beast in human flesh. From everything Ibiki had read and heard, the boy was the definition of merciless, overwhelming, and downright terrifying. His most infamous title, given to him by Kakashi himself, was fittingly the Monster of Konoha. Naruto finally looked away, leaned back in his chair, and casually propped his feet on the desk, right over the exam paper. After a moment, Ibiki slammed the chalkboard with his palm to silence the room. "Forget the written test. I've decided to make the first part more interesting. The 10th question will decide if you move on to part 2. You can attempt it, but if you fail, you'll be banned from ever taking the Chunin exams again. Or you may decline, come back next time and try again. But remember, if even one teammate leaves, the entire squad is disqualified." Ibiki stated firmly, his face unreadable. Naruto nearly burst out laughing. What a joke. Like anyone would quit over one question. As if this guy has the power to stop me. This bastard's bluffing and I'll call him on it. With that thought, Naruto crossed his arms, glaring directly at Ibiki, practically daring him to push further. But despite Naruto's confidence, genin began standing up and leaving one after another. Eventually, most of the row Naruto sat in was empty. He could even feel some of the people he knew wavering. Not about to let that happen, Naruto decided to send a message. He rose from his chair, slammed his hands down on his desk, and shattered the entire row in an instant. The crash silenced everyone as Naruto flexed his fingers, cracking each joint before clenching his fists, once again daring Ibiki to step forward. The room buzzed with tension, most thinking Naruto was actually about to attack the proctor. Thanks to Naruto's display, no one else dared to quit. Seeing the determination solidified in the group and realizing Naruto was about 2 seconds away from a fight, Ibiki finally spoke. Congratulations. You've all passed. I get it, Naruto barked, loud and clear. He had understood from the start this was a test of resolve, whether they'd leave or stay in spite of the unknown. Right. Now we'll wait for the next. Ibiki was interrupted as something crashed through the window, landing in the middle of the room. A banner slapped against the chalkboard as a woman's voice rang out. Hey there, kids. Hope you've got your big boy pants on, 'cause things are about to get serious. Anko declared with a wicked grin. Anko, that was unnecessary. What's with so many genin still being here? Another examiner muttered. It's that blonde brat with the busted desks, came the reply. Anko turned her head, spotted the broken row, and then noticed Naruto, the goggled menace with the massive Kubikirabacho strapped to his back. He looked way too dangerous to be a genin. When her gaze met his smirking face, irritation flashed in her eyes, but she brushed it off and hopped out the window. Follow me, brats. The second stage is in the Forest of Death, she ordered, leading the candidates onward. Once the genin left, Ibiki collected the tests, only to notice the destroyed desks were back in perfect condition. On top of that, Naruto hadn't written a single answer. So, he saw through my entire setup. If that kid doesn't get promoted, I'll be having words with the higher-ups. Ibiki muttered. The boy had essentially solved the exam just by understanding it. The genin soon gathered before the enormous gates of the Forest of Death. Anko explained the rules, gave each team a scroll, and made them sign waivers. Every team then stood at their respective entrances. Another damn gate, Naruto whispered to himself. His team overheard, but before they could comment, the gate opened. Naruto didn't bother with subtlety. He smashed the door apart with one punch and bolted into the forest, leaving a path his teammates had no choice but to follow. Midway between the entrance and the tower at the center, Team 7 made camp. Sasuke and Sakura sat by the fire eating, while Naruto lingered in the shadows beyond the firelight, goggles off. His eyes glowed faintly, 3 Tamo circling his pale irises. With these eyes, he could see through anything, track chakra with precision, and pierce through the forest as if it were clear daylight. From a distance, Orochimaru watched carefully. Those eyes intrigued him even more than the Sharingan. This was the same boy Kabuto had almost no intel on, yet he displayed powers no ordinary genin should have. Orochimaru's obsession stirred. Naruto became the prize, with Sasuke now secondary. When Sasuke left camp, a giant serpent ambushed him, keeping him occupied. Orochimaru, disguised as Sasuke, returned to camp intending to eliminate Sakura and mark Naruto. But the moment he approached, Naruto sensed him and swung the Kubikirabacho, unleashing a wave that obliterated the campsite and nearly bisected Orochimaru. The Sannin barely evaded, leaping into the trees. So it's you, Orochimaru. Sakura, find Sasuke and help him. Don't get killed, Naruto ordered without hesitation. As she hurried off, Naruto faced Orochimaru directly. Why me? Forget it, I know why. I'm the one who beat Zabuza after all. Yes, I want to measure your strength, Orochimaru said, discarding his disguise. Naruto frowned. Honestly, I doubt even the Hokage could kill you. What's the point? Not a death match, just a challenge. Prove yourself to me, Orochimaru insisted, grinning. Though do come at me like you intend to kill. That same mistake Kakashi had made, asking Naruto to get serious. The boy smirked darkly and lunged forward with a decapitating strike. Orochimaru dodged and countered with a punch to the gut only for Naruto to vanish in smoke, a clone. Another puff sounded before Orochimaru was sent flying by a kick to the face, crashing through trees. It became clear Naruto had used a wood clone wielding the Kubikirabacho, while his true self had morphed into the very sword itself. Orochimaru realized too late he had underestimated the boy. A follow-up strike revealed another surprise, Naruto's wood style. Orochimaru's greed spiked. A vessel with this kind of talent was irresistible. From the shadows, Naruto's clones swarmed him in the hundreds, attacking in perfect unison. Orochimaru struck them down with ease at first, but their coordination was too sharp. He took real damage in the process. Meanwhile, the original Naruto prepared his pitch-black technique, using the clones as distractions. Soon, the entire forest was swallowed in darkness. Orochimaru could still sense chakra, but the clones pressed him hard. When he finally immobilized one with a kick, Naruto's wood-style roots erupted from the ground, binding him in place. A clean hit landed, only for Orochimaru to dissolve into mud, revealing it was another clone. Enraged at being deceived, Naruto's clones attacked with newfound ferocity, wearing Orochimaru down. Though the Sannin crushed the last of them, he could no longer deny it. This genin was no ordinary opponent. Naruto removed his weighted gear and released the gravity seal. His body immediately became a blur as he zipped around Orochimaru at blinding speeds, whipping up slicing gusts of wind that attacked from every angle except below. This went on for some time, until the Sannin managed to land a heavy punch to Naruto's face, sending him crashing hard into the earth. At that moment, Naruto dismissed the clones that had been meditating to restore his energy, though doing so gave Orochimaru back some light. Acting as if he was worn out, Naruto planted his blade into the ground and leaned on it, buying just enough time for his cosmic chakra to mend his body. Straightening himself, Naruto pushed off the sword and stood on his own 2 feet, though he deliberately exaggerated his exhaustion. He couldn't risk wasting strength on activating his iron skin technique. Sensing an opening, Orochimaru launched forward, extending his neck to sink his fangs into Naruto's throat. Naruto quickly raised his arm, forcing the Sannin to bite into his forearm instead. A curse mark appeared there, the worst possible placement for control, with 3 tamo forming around the bite. Orochimaru, however, failed to notice Naruto channeling chakra through Kubikirabacho, using it to craft a wood clone underground. The clone erupted from beneath him, landing an uppercut that smashed Orochimaru's jaw, followed by a devastating kick to the stomach that hurled him back. The wood clone dispersed soon after, and Naruto snatched up his sword, retreating from the Sannin. He knew he couldn't keep clashing with him much longer. Orochimaru, unfazed, picked himself off the ground and grinned darkly, eager at the thought of soon possessing Naruto's power. "We eating snake tonight?" Naruto asked when he rejoined Sasuke and Sakura, who were standing near the corpse of a massive serpent. Pulling his goggles down after noticing the dim light, he smirked. "You, absolutely not," Sakura replied in disgust. "Meat is still meat," Naruto answered flatly, as if it were the most obvious truth. "I'm not touching that thing," Sakura shot back firmly. "Well, I am," Naruto muttered. He grabbed the snake by its tail and began dragging it effortlessly, intending to bring it back to camp. But after taking a step in that direction, he remembered Orochimaru was waiting that way. "Nope," he said, turning around and setting up camp right there instead. Using wood release combined with fire release, Naruto constructed an elaborate wooden mansion. He even added a heated fire pit and underground warmth through earth release. Neither Sasuke nor Sakura dared to question him. Naruto was both terrifying and capable of such feats, and his decision was final. "Oh, and while I was fighting Orochimaru, I accidentally leveled our old camp," Naruto casually mentioned. "But I got the other scroll. Anyway, I'm wiped, so let's sleep here tonight." He vanished inside the mansion without waiting for a response. The thought of Naruto failing to kill Orochimaru left Sasuke and Sakura uneasy. If Naruto couldn't do it, the Sannin could easily slaughter them. Each room inside bore their names, and Naruto filled the place with shadow clones disguised as objects. They would dispel if anyone intruded, while 3 clones sat guarding him as he meditated. These clones activated the cosmic eye, serving as scouts, while the original centered himself, gathering more cosmic energy. Naruto even placed the mansion on enormous wheels, with clones transformed into colossal bison, pulling it toward the central tower. A light-bending technique cloaked the entire structure, rendering it invisible to outsiders. The reason for this massive drain of cosmic energy was simple. Naruto was crafting a duplicate of himself. Not a chakra-made shadow clone, but a flesh-and-blood replica with his personality, memories, and powers. He intended to send it into another dimension to wreak havoc purely because he wanted to. Naruto could have ascended to godhood already, but he preferred to explore different paths before claiming that status. He sought to challenge beings stronger and weaker than gods alike, to meet them in battle and overcome them. With a burst of prismatic light, a complete copy of Naruto Uzumaki appeared in another world, born as an orphan. destined to inherit the original's memories when the time came. Back in his own reality, Naruto sat meditating, replenishing what he had spent. Nobody in this world could sense what he had just accomplished, and even if they could, he wouldn't care. The fact that he could do it was enough. By the next morning, their rolling fortress reached the tower ahead of nearly everyone. With a flare of killing intent, Naruto woke his teammates, then strode inside as the wooden mansion crumbled and the summoned bison vanished. Within the tower, Naruto opened both scrolls, summoning Uruka. Their old instructor explained the exam rules before escorting them to the preliminary matches. Kabuto excused himself, and soon the lineup of battles was shown. Naruto discovered he would face Ino in the fourth match. Before Sasuke's fight against Yoroi, Naruto spoke with Kakashi about the cursed mark. "You clashed with Orochimaru." "You're kidding," Kakashi blurted, louder than intended. The other Jonin overheard, and word quickly reached the Hokage, who only smiled knowingly. "I was right to pull Naruto into ANBU at such a young age. If Orochimaru is targeting him, he'll need every edge I can give." "And he marked you too," Kakashi continued more quietly. "Any side effects?" "Not really," Naruto replied truthfully. The cosmic energy allowed him to tap into the seal whenever he wanted without consequences, though nobody else knew this. "Interesting. Anyway, focus on the matches. If I sense you're losing control, I'll step in." Kakashi tried to sound reassuring. Naruto just laughed in his face and walked off to watch. Soon, Sasuke trudged over, defeated and crushed in spirit. "Oh damn, you lost," Naruto commented bluntly. Sasuke kept his head down, refusing to respond. While Sakura tried in vain to console him, Naruto let him be and turned his attention back to the fights. Finding them painfully dull, he slipped into meditation once again. He meditated straight through the third match until it was his turn. Using wood release, Naruto commanded leaves to float him gently into the arena. Ino spotted his closed eyes and assumed he was vulnerable, flinging a kunai. The leaves swirled protectively, crushing the blade into dust, freezing her in fear. Desperate, she resorted to her mind transfer jutsu. The moment she entered his consciousness, everyone in the room realized it was a mistake. "We all agree that was dumb, right?" Kakashi asked the others. "Yeah," they all answered in unison, even the proctor, Hokage, and Gaara. Inside Naruto's mind, Ino found herself in a vast dome chamber patterned like a checkerboard. Is this his mental world? She wondered aloud, before being strapped into a chair by force. No. This is just his training ground. A towering blonde man in a white suit said coldly, standing before her. His name was Jason, and he began torturing her in ways too horrific to describe. Think Kanki in Tokyo Ghoul? Yes, that bad. Within seconds, Ino canceled the jutsu, collapsing unconscious. Naruto rose from meditation, his face unreadable. He took no satisfaction in seeing her broken so quickly. His own training had endured far worse. Meditation, however, had filled him with so much cosmic energy that the darker edges of his psyche were suppressed for now. The proctor declared him the winner, as everyone had expected. Without expression, Naruto returned to his team, ignoring Ino as she was carried off. Though the twisted side of him wanted to laugh at her weakness, Naruto denied it any release. Cosmic energy had nullified the curse mark's influence, and he refused to indulge his cruel instincts. He spent the next few matches utterly bored, gaining intel on his peers but caring little. To Naruto, watching Genin spar was a waste of time. He'd rather fight Orochimaru again than sit through it. When Naruto noticed who was stepping into the ring for the 8th match, his attention locked in, and fury started to burn within him. Kurama quickly sensed that rage, and strengthened by Naruto's negative emotions, focused on the situation unfolding. Damn it! Kurama muttered in his head as he saw Neji and Hinata Hyuga preparing to fight. Naruto, calm your, but before he could finish, Naruto severed their mental connection, cutting the fox off abruptly. Brat! Kurama thought bitterly, knowing there was little he could do now except provide Naruto with as much strength as possible. Kurama was aware that if Neji pushed Hinata too far, Naruto wouldn't sit still. As the battle began, Naruto felt a rush of pride for Hinata's courage in standing against Neji, yet that pride mixed with fury as Neji struck her over and over, causing serious damage. When Hinata coughed up blood, Naruto had enough. His rage peaked, and in a flash he appeared in the arena, stopping Neji's lethal strike. Naruto's left arm, the same one marked with a swirling curse seal, clamped tightly around Neji's wrist. Kakashi, Guy, and Asuma immediately leapt forward, trying to restrain Naruto before he went too far. Instead of killing the arrogant Hyuga, Naruto drove a devastating punch into Neji's chest, launching him across the stage and slamming him into the wall. Every Jonin present, except Kakashi, was stunned by the sheer force of the blow, and even more shocked at what Naruto said next. "If I ever catch you laying a hand on Hinata like that again, I'll hit you with everything I have, and you won't survive it, White Eyes." Naruto's tone was ice cold. The proctor thought of disqualifying him, but fear of becoming the boy's next target kept him quiet. With Hinata carried off by medical Nin and Neji still named the victor, Naruto eventually cooled down and rejoined his squad. The ninth bout began, and despite Naruto's earlier outburst, Gaara still crushed Rock Lee, leaving Lee inspired to train even harder. The 10th fight bored Naruto to death, but once it was done, the lineup for the final stage was revealed. The board displayed Naruto Uzumaki vs Neji Hyuga Gaara of the Sand, Funk, vs Yori Akado, Kankuro vs Shino, Aburame Temari vs Shikamaru Dasu Kinuta vs Kiba and Yuzuka. Seeing that he'd be facing Neji, Naruto smirked darkly. Finally, he'd get his chance to humble that smug Hyuga. Though Naruto was the strongest genin in the exams, Neji believed otherwise, and Naruto knew that punch earlier would only push him to train harder. Still, Naruto wasn't about to slack. He'd been studying the gentle fist since meeting Neji and was already preparing counters. When dismissed, Naruto vanished in a blur of speed, racing straight through the forest of death to his private training grounds. He didn't even bother speaking to Kakashi. If his sensei truly wanted to help him, he'd have to grow a backbone and seek him out. Naruto was aware that plenty of people feared him, Kakashi included. If the copy ninja wanted to train him, he'd have to put that fear aside and come find him. Naruto had also picked up on another presence in the village, someone carrying power on par with Orochimaru. No matter how well they tried to mask it, Naruto had learned to sense immense chakra signatures. After setting up hundreds of clones to practice anti-Hyuga drills, Naruto went hunting for the intruder. His search ended outside a women's hot spring, where he found a man peeping through the wall, the source of that power. Seeing a legendary shinobi wasting time as a pervert infuriated Naruto. Without hesitation, he launched a flying kick into the man's head, blasting him through the wall and into the baths, where the women inside screamed and pummeled him mercilessly. Naruto repaired the wall quickly, letting the chaos unfold. After about a minute of well-deserved punishment, Naruto used water release to pull the man from drowning and dropped him onto the ground in front of him. "Thanks for saving me, but weren't you the one who caused that in the first place?" Jiraiya shouted in frustration. "You're welcome, and yes, I did. I wanted to prove my strength and make sure neither of us owed the other," Naruto explained plainly. "Heh, sounds to me like you want me to train you," Jiraiya said knowingly. "That's right. I'm Naruto Uzumaki." "And you are?" Naruto asked. Jiraiya was stunned that the boy didn't know him, but also curious why Naruto would seek him out regardless. "I'm Jiraiya," the Sannin answered humbly. "To keep it simple, we're family, don't ask how. But tell me, why do you want me as your teacher when you don't even know who I am?" "Your power is on the same level as Orochimaru's. And since I'm already on his radar and have fought him once, I want to be ready for next time," Naruto stated firmly. Family ties didn't mean much to him anymore, so that revelation barely stirred him. "You faced Orochimaru. No way, just how strong are you, kid?" Jiraiya asked in disbelief. "Not strong enough, that's why I'm here to change that," Naruto replied bluntly. "All right then, I'll take you in as my student." Jiraiya finally agreed. "Can we start with a spar?" Naruto asked instantly. Jiraiya chuckled and motioned for him to follow. "As my sensei, there are some things you should know," Naruto began as they walked toward a rocky clearing. "I already know the Nine Tails is sealed inside you," Jiraiya interrupted gently. "Well, I've placed a secondary seal on him. I also locked down my Uzumaki abilities. Instead of regular chakra, I wield cosmic chakra. It gave me total control of the cursed seal, and it mutated the trace of Uchiha blood in me into a Sharingan," Naruto explained quickly. "So the Nine Tails can't influence you, The cursed seal doesn't control you, and you don't even rely on the Uzumaki's healing. Jirya asked for clarity. Correct. But I think the cosmic energy grants me Hashirama Senju's vitality. Do you know why I'm connected to him? Naruto asked. I'm your grandfather, and your grandmother's grandfather was Hashirama Senju. Jirya revealed carefully, avoiding one specific name. So that makes Tsunade my grandmother. Interesting, it explains my wood release. Anyway, let's talk about the spar. Any rules? Naruto asked, brushing the subject aside. No weapons, Jirya said quickly, glancing at the massive blade on Naruto's back. Naruto tossed the weapon aside, then eyed Jirya's scroll. No summoning, Naruto countered slowly. Jirya agreed and dropped the scroll. Want me to fight with my Dijutsu active? Naruto added, a dangerous glint in his eyes. Why not? Jirya smirked. Naruto's lips curved into a deadly grin as he snapped his fingers, raising a massive dome around them. By agreeing, you allowed me to create the conditions where my Dijutsu shines. Want me to also release all my restraints, including the ones holding back the 9 tails and my Uzumaki traits? His voice grew colder. Go ahead, Jirya said, though hesitant. Naruto shed his weights, leaving craters in the ground deeper than Lee's. He dispelled the gravity seals, then ran through hand signs, striking his stomach to unlock his Uzumaki heritage. With another sequence, he slammed his gut again, unleashing the 9 tails' full power. Jirya, Naruto's tone grew dark as shadows consumed the dome. When I fought Orochimaru, I wasn't at full strength. Now I don't even know my limits. The dome sealed shut, engulfing them in pure black. Unlike Genjutsu, this darkness wouldn't fade quickly. Naruto lifted his goggles, turning the void into clear vision for himself. Only his glowing eyes could be seen, white irises rimmed with tamo, surrounded by a pale lilac glow. Jirya smirked, thinking Naruto gave away his position. He assumed Naruto specialized in stealth within the dark. But when their eyes met, Jirya froze in horror. Those eyes carried a single, terrifying message. I can see you. Jirya's trance of fear shattered the moment Naruto rushed forward and drove his fist straight into his sternum with full force, launching the Sannin at blinding speed into the dome's wall. The impact buried Jirya 3 feet deep into the 20-foot-thick wooden barrier. As his arms and legs were bound tightly by the wood, a realization struck him. Naruto possessed wood release. That meant unless he broke free, his fate was in Naruto's hands. Now, don't misunderstand, Jirya was no pushover, but being stuck 3 feet inside chakra-hardened wood. Hardly anyone could escape that. In the blink of an eye, Naruto used the body flicker technique to appear in front of the immobilized sage, and began hammering his torso with a relentless barrage of punches. He held back just enough to avoid shattering bones or causing fatal internal injuries, but he inflicted every other form of pain possible. Naruto then chose to finish the fight in a similar fashion to how he had defeated Zabuza. Chakra sparked around him as his right arm shot backward, stretching nearly an entire mile until it connected with the far wall of the dome. Anchoring it there with chakra, Naruto bit into his left thumb and blew into it, swelling it to enormous proportions. The swelling transferred into his right arm, transforming the fist into a gigantic weapon. With one colossal swing, the monstrous punch connected with Jirya, blasting him straight through the dome's wall and hurling him into the rocky wasteland outside. The older man skidded across the ground for several yards before finally coming to a stop. You win this spar, Jirya managed to rasp, his voice strained. Naruto used his giant hand to latch onto the rock and propel himself forward, sliding his goggles down over his eyes as his arm shrank back to its normal size. Standing above the battered sage, Naruto extended his hand. Jirya took it, and with Naruto's support, hauled himself back up. Leaning on the boy, the two began their slow walk toward the hospital. Despite the pain, Jirya couldn't help but grin as he spoke. Let's train you to be this strong even in broad daylight. Naruto grinned too. It wasn't that his power weakened in light, it was simply that he thrived even more in the dark. But Jirya wanted him to grow strong enough to unleash such feats anytime, anywhere. On their way, Naruto explained his habit of using seals and restraints. 1 month later, during the Chunin exam finals, Naruto, Neji, Gaara, Yord, Temari, Shikamaru, Kankuro, Shino, Kiba, and Dasu stood in a line as the proctor addressed them. Naruto had, in his own way, kept Gaara from harming others simply by existing as an intimidating force. He had even saved the proctor from certain death earlier. When it came time to announce the first match, the proctor dismissed everyone except Naruto and Neji. The two stepped into the center of the arena, standing across from each other. As Naruto closed the distance, he extended his hand. But before doing so, he dug his nails into his palm, drawing blood. Neji shook the offered hand firmly. The moment contact was made, Naruto's expression darkened into a furious scowl. He could sense whose blood was lingering there. His grip tightened dangerously, nearly crushing Neji's hand before the proctor forced them apart. "I warned you, Neji. I warned you, now you'll pay," Naruto said in a low, threatening tone as he walked back to his side. He had confirmed it. Hinata's blood stained Neji's hands. Not only had he absorbed Hyuga blood and awakened the Byakugan, but the handshake was his way of discovering if Neji had hurt Hinata. He had promised that if Neji harmed her again, there would be consequences. And if the Hyuga clan's laws weren't in the way, Neji would already be dead. Naruto smirked and turned toward Neji. "You know how Lee trains with weights, right?" At the mention of his name, Lee perked up instantly. "Well, mine are a lot heavier." Naruto removed his weighted gear, several times heavier than Lee's, and tossed them aside. The ground cracked and craters formed where they landed, leaving the crowd stunned, even Guy and Lee themselves. Now Naruto stood in a sleeveless dark red shirt, ANBU-style pants and boots, and his black-shaded ceiling goggles, which he could activate or deactivate at will. "No matter how hard you push yourself, fate says I'll win," Neji declared smugly, taking the gentle fist stance. His face showed superiority, but inside, fear gnawed at him. Naruto picked up on it instantly. "And no matter how much you cling to fate, you can't escape the inevitable." Naruto shot back, casually refusing to take any stance. Why bother? He didn't need one. A plan was enough, and he already had one. Neji opened with his strongest assault, the 32 palms leading into the 64. After the 30-second strike, he expected Naruto to collapse from blocked chakra. But the blonde didn't even flinch. Not once. Then Naruto moved to end things with a single knockout blow. Neji spun into his chitin, a spiraling dome of chakra that blasted Naruto back. The blonde didn't appreciate being pushed away. With raw force, he tore through the rotation and smashed Neji straight into the wall, knocking him out cold. Another victim embedded into stone, something Naruto found oddly satisfying. The proctor called the match, declaring Naruto the winner. As he returned to the viewing area, he locked eyes with Gaara midair. His look carried a clear message: do not kill. Both Gaara and Shukaku understood. They feared the consequences too much to disobey. The next matches followed quickly. Gaara crushed Yori with sand, Shikamaru forfeited to Temari rather than hurt a girl, Kankuro withdrew entirely, and Dasu and Kiba knocked each other out simultaneously. That left Naruto and Gaara. The crowd was buzzing with excitement. Both were powerhouses, and everyone knew it. Among the Leaf, though, most didn't even bother betting. The result was obvious. As the fight began, Naruto smirked. "Gaara, I'll give you a handicap." He slid his goggles up, revealing closed eyes, fighting blind. To make sure everyone noticed, he gestured mockingly for Gaara to come at him. Gaara answered with an overwhelming wave of sand that crushed Naruto against the wall. "That all you got?" Naruto roared, laughing darkly. His chakra exploded outward, blasting the sand back toward Gaara with such overwhelming force that the redhead collapsed on the spot, finally succumbing to sleep. Kankuro quickly grabbed his brother and retreated, while Naruto calmly slid his goggles back down with a smile. His goal had simply been to give Gaara the peace of sleep. Nothing more, nothing less. After returning to the stands, Temari fought Shino. She kept fending off his bug swarms with wind, but overlooked the fact that he had hidden some in the grass. With that strategy, Shino drained her chakra and claimed victory. At last, the final match, Naruto versus Shino. A 30-minute break was granted and the two waited together, but Shino had one burning question. "Why were you so furious with Neji?" Shino asked. "Simple," Naruto replied. "During the prelims, I warned him that if he ever hurt Hinata again, I'd make him suffer the same pain. So before our match, I cut my palm and shook his hand. Hinata's blood was on him, and when I absorbed it, I confirmed it was hers. That's why I snapped." Most people feared Naruto too much to even ask about his abilities, but seeing Shino unafraid, Naruto grinned. Hey, Shino, after all this is over, do you want to be friends? I don't see a reason why not. We're comrades, after all, unless one of us ever turns on the leaf, Shino said in his calm, detached tone. Naruto found himself appreciating that about Shino. It made him think they could get along well. After a stretch of rest, healing, and for some, scheming or backing off, definitely not hinting at Orochimaru, and the sand backing out of their attack, wink, wink. The last match of the tournament was about to kick off. Shino and Naruto stood across from each other, prepared to clash in the middle of the arena. Before the fight, they shook hands and agreed it would be an honorable match. For this one battle, Naruto had decided not to unleash any of his hidden strength. That also meant he'd keep his weighted gear on. The weights had become so extreme that Naruto had to make them himself. Most people wouldn't even be able to pick up one of his wrist weights, let alone fight in them. As soon as the proctor signaled the start, Shino released a swarm of insects that swirled around and engulfed Naruto. Yet, strangely enough, they pulled away and returned to Shino without harming him. That's never happened before. They say my bugs are terrified of you. I just wanted to test if it was true. You're the only shinobi they refuse to touch, Shino explained, his tone steady as ever. Before you call it, could you at least give me one good punch at full strength? Naruto asked politely. Shino gave a small shrug, walked up, and drove his fist into Naruto's cheek with everything he had. Naruto didn't so much as flinch. So this is what power feels like, Naruto thought with a faint sadness. Was this how Orochimaru felt when facing someone hopelessly outmatched? Though he liked knowing he was stronger, Naruto still longed for a real challenge. And right now, it felt like such fights might never come again. Guess I'll have to explore other worlds eventually, he mused with a sly grin. The cosmic boy could always seal away his own strength and chase down entirely new abilities. After all, meddling with the cosmos had already caused other dimensions, Blue Exorcist, Parasite, High School DxD, to cross paths with his own. There's no path to victory here. I surrender, Shino announced plainly to the proctor. But our friendship stands, Naruto. Naruto felt relieved hearing that. Shino didn't let pride ruin their bond. Unlike someone like Sasuke, who would have made some hollow promise about catching up while secretly stewing over it. The proctor declared Naruto the winner of the tournament. Naruto smiled, not because of the title, which he expected anyway, but because he had gained a true friend in Shino. That was the real prize. Leaving the arena without caring for the crowd's cheers, Naruto soon found Jiraiya. Orochimaru's been disguising himself as the Kazekage. He planned Gaara's downfall. When I knocked Gaara out, Orochimaru and the sand forces retreated. But I could sense his massive power radiating from that disguise, Naruto explained quickly. We need a stronger Hokage. Even the third told me he isn't enough to stop Orochimaru. You could teach me everything you know, but we don't have time for me to surpass him alone. We need someone new who can stand against him. Later, the two sat together at a bar. Jiraiya propped his chin on his hand, studying Naruto thoughtfully. Me, Hokage, doesn't fit, Jiraiya said with a lazy grin. But we could track down Tsunade. While we search, I can teach you one of my personal techniques. Yeah, that'll work. Tomorrow we start looking for her. Deal, he held his hand out. Naruto gripped it firmly and shook. Jiraiya had shaken hands with countless ninja, but Naruto's handshake carried a raw, contained force that told him there was far more locked inside. The next morning, the hunt for Tsunade began. They followed rumors, unpaid debts, and tales of a busty blonde gambler. Along the way, Jiraiya began teaching Naruto the Rasengan. Naruto learned quickly, but when the technique got tricky, he summoned 3 clones to speed it up while he and Jiraiya continued their search. Before Naruto could fully form the Rasengan, they found Tsunade. When asked to return, the legendary Sannin declined outright. Tsunade, how about a wager? Naruto smirked, knowing of her addiction. On what? She asked with interest. I bet your hardest punch won't knock me out. Her lips curled into a confident grin. And the stakes? If I win, you come back and take the Hokage seat. If you win, I clear every debt you owe, Naruto offered. Tempted, she shook on it. They squared off outside, 20 feet apart. Naruto beckoned mockingly with his hand, which only fueled Tsunade's irritation. She charged, striking Naruto full force in the face, launching him into a wall in a cloud of debris. She winced in pain at the impact. "What are you made of?" she muttered, assuming the boy was down. "Pure determination," Naruto replied, stepping from the wreckage with only a bruise. Meanwhile, in Konoha, Orochimaru attacked. Though he killed the Hokage, the old man crippled him by sealing away his arms, leaving him unable to perform jutsu. The Sound Four were dispatched to lure Sasuke, but Sakura tried to stall them. She succeeded in letting Sasuke escape, though at the cost of her life. Back with Naruto, Tsunade stared in shock. He wasn't just standing, he was demanding more. "I said, hit me with everything, don't hold back." His eyes narrowed, furious at being underestimated. He despised the thought of being treated as fragile. "You know I can't," Tsunade hesitated. "Then I'll side with Orochimaru. One more condition, if I survive, give me your necklace." His voice left no room for argument. Cornered, Tsunade unleashed her full power. As she charged chakra into her strike, Naruto lifted his goggles, revealing his eyes, Rinnegan rings forming around his Sharingan. Time seemed to slow, letting him brace his muscles and pour chakra into his stomach. Even his Uzumaki heritage and traces of Hashirama's chakra reinforced him. When the punch landed, he rocketed through a building. Minutes passed with no sign of life, Tsunade trembling as guilt crept in, until a surge of chakra blasted away the rubble. Naruto emerged, eyes now showing a second ring. He extended his hand silently. Reluctantly, Tsunade removed her necklace and placed it in his palm. Naruto fastened it around his neck and immediately felt its true nature. "This necklace massively enhances the ability to seal-tailed beast chakra," he observed. "And I've already got a plan." "What kind of plan?" Jiraiya asked, bracing himself. With Naruto, it could only be something simple, insane, or dangerously brilliant. "We should head out for a training journey soon," Naruto told Jiraiya in his usual blunt way. Jiraiya mentally shrugged at the idea, since it was already something he had been planning anyway. A day later, Naruto, Tsunade, and Jiraiya clashed with Orochimaru and his followers, the Sound Five and Kabuto. "I'll deal with Orochimaru. Tsunade, take care of Kabuto. Naruto, can you handle the other four by yourself?" Jiraiya asked, throwing a side glance at the eager blonde. "Of course." Naruto smirked with complete confidence. Having already removed his weight seals and gravity limiters, he was itching for a fight. Something inside him craved picking out the biggest enemy and smashing them first. That biggest target turned out to be Jirobo, the massive, orange-haired brute. Unfortunately for him, Naruto had already chosen his first victim. When Jiraiya gave the signal, the battlefield split into separate duels. Tsunade quickly put Kabuto down and joined Jiraiya against Orochimaru, and soon enough all three Sannin had unleashed their summons. A massive toad, slug, and snake dominating the field. The Sound Five formed a circle around Naruto, Jirobo towering at the front. "Let me guess. Orochimaru wants you to flex your curse seal powers and tempt me to switch sides, right? How about I just show you why he's afraid of me?" Naruto shot back casually. Without warning, Naruto blitzed forward, sweeping Jirobo's legs out from under him, grabbing one and stomping into the man's back before hurling him aside like dead weight. The rest of the Sound Five barely registered what happened. "I'll play along, one of you at a time with just one limb each," Naruto taunted. Kidomaru snapped first, firing at Naruto. The blonde spun and smashed him in the face with his left leg, knocking him cold instantly. Teuya raised her flute, but Naruto darted in and rammed his left fist into her stomach, dropping her flat before she could play a note. Next was Sakin and Yukin. Naruto hammered the first head with a right leg kick, then flipped over their body and bicycle kicked the second head straight into the first, leaving both unconscious. Only Kimimaro remained. Naruto lifted his right fist, recognizing this one as the strongest. Charging chakra into the strike, he flashed forward. For an instant, it seemed as if a caped, bald man replaced him mid-punch, before the devastating blow launched Kimimaro away, tearing up the battlefield. Meanwhile, the Sannin clash raged until Orochimaru finally fled, his guards defeated and broken. Unknown to him, Naruto had already sent a wood clone underground to tail them, preparing a hidden plan he had yet to reveal. Once the fight ended, Naruto, Tsunade, and Jiraiya returned to Konoha with Shizune and her pig. Tsunade was formally installed as Hokage, and things settled down. Orochimaru didn't attempt another move on Naruto or Sasuke. Soon after, Zabuza and Haku became official Leaf Ninja, Zabuza as a Jonin, Haku as a Chunin. Naruto spent months training with them. Haku helped him master ice release, even gifting him his bloodline, while Naruto also began experimenting with the Byakugan and polishing his Rasengan through chakra control exercises. He enjoyed freezing Zabuza and Kakashi far too much during practice. Naruto occasionally sparred with Sasuke and Lee, defeating them each time with nothing more than a single knockout punch. Secretly, however, he had infiltrated Orochimaru's ranks using a wood clone as a spy, making the Sannin believe Naruto was betraying the Leaf while in reality using Orochimaru's training against him. Jiraiya stayed at the Namikaze estate, though Naruto made it very clear that if the man ever tried reclaiming it, he'd regret it. As he planned Naruto's next phase of growth, Jiraiya realized the boy's rapid progress meant he'd have to introduce him to Sage Mode sooner rather than later. A week later, Jiraiya told Naruto to prepare for their journey. Before leaving, Naruto visited Hinata, Shino, Sasuke, and Lee to say his goodbyes. He made sure to tell Sasuke that joining Orochimaru wouldn't make him stronger, proudly sharing how he'd crushed all of Orochimaru's subordinates. With that, he shook Lee's hand and left with Jiraiya, eager for the challenge ahead. 2.5 years passed. Naruto returned quietly at night, dressed entirely in black with a new jacket. He had changed, no longer rushing into things blindly but scheming and strategizing. Through his wood clones, he spied on Orochimaru's network, carefully monitoring them using plants as his eyes. He trusted none of them, though Orochimaru's training had taught him how to fully control the curse mark, which many believed he had mastered. Back in the Namikaze estate, Naruto summoned clones to restore the property while he unpacked. Settling in, he meditated, watching over Konoha through his cosmic eye. Nothing much had changed beyond Tsunade's face on the Hokage monument and the villagers aging. He sighed, knowing no Chunin could match him, and only a handful of Jonin came close. That night, as always, he spoke with Kurama in his dreams. The fox shared wisdom, stories, and sometimes just idle chatter. Naruto had come to treasure those talks more than ordinary dreams. The next morning, Naruto strolled to Tsunade's office at a casual pace. Inside, he found Sasuke waiting too, wearing a simpler version of his usual attire. "So, what's the deal, Tsunade?" Naruto asked her with relaxed bluntness. If it had been anyone else, she'd have smacked them, but this was Naruto, and even she couldn't deny his strength. "This is partly a Team 7 reunion," Tsunade explained. "But also, since you both have been away from the village, it's required that your sensei test you again. And you can come in now, Kakashi," Naruto called to the window, exposing their teacher without even looking. Having inherited Karin's sensory abilities, he had perfected them to an unmatched level. Kakashi entered through the window, both embarrassed and proud that Naruto had sensed him so easily. "When's the test happening?" Sasuke asked. "Tonight, at sundown," Kakashi replied after glancing at Tsunade and Naruto. Naruto gave a small nod before vanishing in a blur of pure speed, leaving not a ripple in the air behind him. At dusk, Naruto and Sasuke stood opposite Kakashi, the horizon painted in orange and red. Sasuke was tense, already expecting Naruto to launch an assault the second things began. It was a fair assumption. Kakashi was uneasy too, but that was simply because, well, Naruto was Naruto. After all, the boy had trained for over 2.5 years under a Sannin, or so everyone thought. The truth was more shocking. He had studied under 2 Sannin during that time, and not even Jiraiya was aware of it. Hidden in the trees, Tsunade, Shizune, and Jiraiya watched closely. They had all wagered on the outcome, and Kakashi, against his better judgment, had taken part. He regretted that decision now, knowing he was about to lose as the sun finally sank behind the tree line. "Begin!" Kakashi ordered once daylight had slipped away. In an instant, Naruto vanished, leaving behind a violent gust of wind that nearly toppled Sasuke and forced Kakashi to steady himself. His headband lifted, revealing his Sharingan, but even that couldn't track the Jinchuriki's speed. From high above, Naruto tossed down his weighted gear. Kakashi barely noticed in time and dodged as the equipment struck the earth, forming a massive crater. Hovering midair, Naruto released his gravity seal, prolonging his airborne stance before sliding his goggles up. His gaze was terrifying, though one change stood out. The concentric rings were gone. Naruto stood at the threshold of unlocking the Rinnegan, requiring only one of two triggers: suffering unbearable loss or absorbing the blood of a Rinnegan wielder. He awaited whichever came first. The impact of his discarded gear alone was enough to turn Kakashi's unease into sheer dread. Distracted by the crater, he failed to notice Naruto plummeting down, fist cocked and ready. The blow landed, but on a clone. The true devastation revealed itself when Naruto's punch shattered the ground, sending debris flying and forcing the hidden observers to retreat as their perch was consumed by the shockwave. Kakashi reappeared at the crater's edge, staring down into the dust-filled abyss. Suddenly, Naruto burst upward with another punch aimed directly at him. Kakashi narrowly dodged, but the shockwave ripped apart the terrain around them. "Kakashi, you've improved since last time. Who's been your sparring partner?" Naruto teased with a grin. "Only Tsunade and Sasuke," Kakashi admitted truthfully. "Tsunade for her raw strength, Sasuke for his Sharingan. Clever choices. But tell me, Kakashi, are either of them fast enough?" Naruto's tone implied he knew something Kakashi didn't. Before Kakashi could answer, Naruto blurred forward at blinding speed. Kakashi barely evaded, stumbling as Naruto's chakra-coated fist froze just inches away. The sight made his throat tighten. Naruto's eyes locked with Kakashi's, and suddenly the Sharingan lost its power. Kakashi was at a serious disadvantage. Before either could move again, a massive fireball tore through the air toward Kakashi, forcing him to counter with water release. Steam cloaked the battlefield. "Drop it, Kakashi. Just quit before you get hurt," Naruto warned, offering a chance at mercy. But Kakashi wasn't willing to give up, not yet. He wanted to win at least one wager. That determination ended when Naruto's knee slammed into his gut, forcing a painful surrender. Kakashi lay curled on the ground, clutching his stomach in agony. Sasuke approached, shaking his head before he and Naruto lifted their battered teacher, escorting him toward the hospital. Sometime later, Team Kakashi, though it might as well have been Team Naruto, by now gathered in the Hokage's office for their first official mission. After Tsunade's debrief, they set out for the Sand Village to rescue Gaara from the Akatsuki. Along the way, Temari joined them. Naruto explained about the tailed beasts, the 9 tails within him, the 1 tail inside Gaara, and the Akatsuki's pursuit of Jinchuriki. The capture of Gaara infuriated Naruto. He viewed every Jinchuriki as kin, and the thought of the Akatsuki preying on them boiled his blood. The only reason he wasn't already storming the Sand Village was because he couldn't abandon his team. Still, he constantly surged ahead, impatient. Upon arrival, they found Kankuro poisoned. Surprisingly, Sasuke treated him with medical ninjutsu, evidence of training under Tsunade. Kakashi soon discovered a cloth fragment belonging to Sasori. Using his Ninken, he tracked the Akatsuki. An elderly woman, Chiyo, joined their pursuit, though Itachi intercepted them first. Kakashi warned not to meet Itachi's eyes, but Naruto ignored him. Sasuke followed suit, activating his own Sharingan. As Itachi mocked them, Naruto lifted the seals on his goggles, negating the Akatsuki's eye techniques. "Sasuke, now's your chance, take your revenge," Naruto called. Sasuke lunged and stabbed Itachi, only to realize it was a clone in disguise. "No wonder his body froze, he wasn't the real one," Naruto muttered, annoyed but composed. Seeing Sasuke's frustration, he added, "We'll get him later. For now, Gaara comes first." He charged ahead, sealing his goggles once again, while the others followed reluctantly. Eventually, they reached the Akatsuki hideout blocked by a sealed boulder. Naruto struck it with all his might, leaving only a deep fist mark before it healed. "Damn rock!" he shouted, striking it repeatedly until Team Guy arrived and dispelled the barrier. Once the seal was gone, Naruto obliterated the boulder with a kick, charging inside. They found Gaara's body guarded by Sasori and Deidara. Before anyone could act, Deidara escaped with Gaara. Naruto immediately pursued, leaving the others to fight Sasori. Sprinting over water, Naruto kept pace with Deidara easily. "Your friend's already dead, you know," Deidara mocked without looking back. The words sent Naruto into a fury. He activated his version 1 cloak, fueled by raw cosmic energy that balanced Kurama's rage. A chakra arm retrieved Gaara's body and sent it to safety, while Naruto continued after Deidara. Catching him, Naruto struck with enough force to send Deidara flying into the forest. He refrained from going further when he realized the taunts were meant to provoke him. Dispelling his cloak, he still landed a half-powered punch that ripped through trees and left Deidara sprawled. Later, Chiyo used her forbidden technique to trade her life for Gaara's revival. With Gaara safe, they returned him to the Sand Village before heading back to Konoha. Both Team Kakashi and Team Guy regrouped. Kakashi was hospitalized due to Sasori's poison, though they gained critical intel about an Akatsuki informant within Orochimaru's ranks. In the Hokage's office, Naruto and Sasuke stood ready for their next orders. While I know you two can handle missions alone, regulations demand you take additional teammates. Yamato will lead you for the time being, Tsunade announced in her firm Hokage tone. A man entered, bowing slightly. I'm Yamato. From here on, address me as Yamato-sense. Sasuke frowned at the title, clearly unimpressed already. That's not a title you're simply handed. Up until now, only Jiraiya has truly earned it, even if it was only temporary. Naruto made it clear to their new captain that his expectations were high and that his own skill shouldn't be underestimated. Anyway, your new teammate will be Sai. Come in, Sai. Just like Yamato, a pale-skinned boy walked in and positioned himself beside Sasuke. My name's Sai, he greeted with forced courtesy and a smile that felt completely hollow. Immediately, Sasuke's gaze locked on him, the Uchiha frowning as he sensed that the boy's strength rivaled his own. He hated the idea of a competitor he didn't even know, especially one who looked fragile enough to collapse under direct sunlight. If you're going to fake your emotions and wear that phony smile, at least do it properly, second-rate root operative, Naruto remarked coldly, analyzing Sai without even looking at him. Yamato and Tsunade exchanged a glance at the root reference, while Sasuke couldn't help but smirk in irritation. Smirk, because his team had frightening talent, irritation, because managing such talent was a nightmare. So, are we starting this mission or not? Yeah, let's move out, Yamato said, trying his hand at leading for the first time. But before he even finished speaking, both Naruto and Sasuke had already left the room. Why did it have to be me, Lord Hokage? You're the one who insisted on taking Kakashi's place, Tsunade replied curtly, eyes still on her paperwork. Resigned, Yamato sighed and trailed after the Uchiha and Senju, with Sai following silently, his fake smile still plastered on his face. He didn't even respond to Naruto's sharp deduction, choosing instead to ignore it as if the blonde had gotten it wrong. But those who knew Naruto understood, he was rarely wrong. Yamato and Sai would soon realize that for themselves. At the village gate, the team reviewed the mission details before setting off. Naruto barely paid attention to Yamato's explanations, showing only mild interest. The journey was long but uneventful, though Yamato kept trying to connect with Naruto and Sasuke, while Sai attempted the same. Eventually, Yamato suggested making camp, only to notice that Naruto had already set everything up, done better than he could have ever managed. Seeing someone else use would release so naturally gnawed at Yamato, an ANBU who prided himself on that ability. Naruto volunteered to stand watch through the night. Sasuke accepted this without concern, having grown used to it, but Sai and Yamato exchanged skeptical looks. Naruto reassured them by saying he would also be meditating while keeping guard. They doubted him, but as always, he followed through. Shadow clones and wood clones monitored the area while the original sat in meditation. In the center of his room, Naruto focused. He considered sending another cosmic clone into a different dimension. This one, a universe overflowing with endless wars and duels, exactly the kind of chaos Naruto craved. The only problem was figuring out how the clone would adapt to that world's society. Once inspiration struck, a flash of cosmic energy wrapped around him. In an instant, he vanished, only to return seconds later as though he'd never moved. The clone had been placed exactly where he wanted it, but at the cost of nearly all his stored cosmic energy. When the squad arrived at their target, Yamato disguised himself as Sasori with transformation jutsu and moved onto the bridge. He expected to meet someone, though he didn't know it would be Kabuto. After a short wait, Kabuto appeared. The moment they exchanged words, Naruto burst out of the trees, landing between them. Seriously, Yamato, you're terrible at reading people, Naruto criticized sharply. The same boy who had spotted Sai's fake smile, without a glance now mocked Yamato's lack of perception. It also didn't hurt that Kurama's ability to sense negative emotions helped him detect Orochimaru's presence behind Kabuto. No wonder you're so skilled at sniffing out lies, Kabuto mused, noting how the Jinchuriki had fooled countless others, including himself and Orochimaru. Naruto, however, wasn't eager to fight the snake Sannin just yet. The effort of creating his cosmic clone had drained him, and he needed time to recover. He considered bluffing, but intimidation rarely worked on Orochimaru. Damn it. Kurama, prepare for Plan B, Naruto commanded mentally. The fox chuckled, already excited about what was to come. Naruto lifted his goggles, revealing closed lids. When he opened them, his deep blue eyes showed, slowly shifting toward violet. I've figured out how to temporarily suppress my Dijutsu. Just to make this easier for you, Orochimaru, Naruto said with forced bravado. In truth, he was buying time for Plan B, but to everyone else, it seemed like cockiness. Fortunately, nobody here could sense cosmic energy except him. So you mean to face me on equal footing? Orochimaru asked mockingly. Instantly, Naruto's teammates went on guard. What they didn't notice was Naruto's hair bristling upwards, his eyes bleeding from blue to crimson with slit pupils, his whisker marks darkening, clear signs that Kurama's chakra was surging through him. I knew you were treacherous, but I didn't think you were this much of a try. Orochimaru's words were cut short as Naruto lunged, smashing his fist into the snake's face and shattering the bridge. The shockwave flung Kabuto away, leaving Orochimaru in a crater. Marvelous! Orochimaru hissed with excitement, climbing out. Naruto's cloak of burning red-orange chakra had sprouted 3 tails, his fangs elongated, claws sharpened, and his whiskers carved deeper into his face. I am no traitor, Naruto roared, his voice dripping with fury. Kurama's chakra overwhelmed him, stripping away control and amplifying his suppressed anger until it consumed him entirely. His mind was filled with a single command. Kill Orochimaru. Oh, but you are, more than I ever was. You turned on your own will. Orochimaru's taunt was silenced as Naruto unleashed 5 chakra waves with a swipe of his arm. Orochimaru dodged, the blast obliterating the ground he had just stood on. I never betrayed anyone. I just used you, Naruto bellowed, loud enough for his team to hear. Part of Plan B. He lunged again, his swipe blocked, and Orochimaru countered with a punch. From his sleeve, snakes shot out toward Naruto, but the cloak burned through them instantly. Then a chakra-coated kunai slipped past the cloak, grazing Naruto's cheek. That was enough to push him over the edge. Kurama's chakra erupted violently as a 4th tail sprouted. Where a bridge once stood, now only a ruined crater remained, stained with blood, littered with broken weapons, and echoing with the clash of monsters. At its center, Naruto, now in the 2nd stage of his tailed beast form with 5 tails raging, fought against Orochimaru. No one knew how long the battle had lasted, but it felt endless, both combatants too powerful to fall easily. Orochimaru had tried to manipulate him with mockery and insults, but Naruto's subconscious had taken over, shielding him from mind games. Worse for Orochimaru, Naruto's instincts were razor-sharp, enhanced by Kurama's chakra to the point his movements rivaled both Sharingan and Byakugan reflexes combined. His conscious mind, meanwhile, sat within Kurama, observing through his body's eyes, waiting for the perfect moment. With smarter Naruto, this is entertaining, Naruto muttered to Kurama. Welcome to my reality, brat, the fox replied lazily. I'm sorry you're stuck like this, Naruto apologized softly. What do you mean stuck? Kurama growled with mild irritation. I mean, I don't know how to release you. I've studied the seal, and while I could rip that tag off, you'd still be trapped here. Normally, the seal should be weakening, but the constant repairs from cosmic energy keep it stable, and it doesn't even take much effort to fix itself. Naruto explained calmly. That's miserable. Still, that cosmic energy keeps me calmer than I'd normally be. Without it, I'd probably hate you, Kurama admitted. Guess I'm lucky then, Naruto said in a flat, bored tone. Seems so, Kurama answered with the same lifeless delivery. So, about that other version of you, Kurama asked casually. Cosmic energy suppresses emotions heavily. After being exposed to your chakra for so long, a manifestation appeared. It's not really a personality, more like primal instinct, Naruto told him while sitting cross-legged in meditation. Then those instincts are damn sharp. Kurama admitted, recalling Naruto's fighting style. Yeah, they are. I borrow them often myself, Naruto replied. Back to the battle, Naruto and Orochimaru traded relentless strikes, their blows clashing so often that shockwaves spread dirt and debris across the battlefield. Orochimaru grew more frustrated with every second. He had expected the Jinchuriki to sprout more tails by now, but Naruto remained at 5. He had also hoped Naruto would use the curse mark, but that too never came. All the snake could do was stall. Naruto suddenly caught Orochimaru's right fist, his blood-in chakra-coated hand locking around it tightly. No matter how much Orochimaru twisted or pulled, Naruto wouldn't let go. The blonde smirked at him wickedly, then yanked him downwards and drove a knee straight into his face, launching him skyward. Orochimaru didn't even have time to hit the ground before Naruto followed through, slamming an elbow into his spine with brutal force. It felt like impalement. With a dismissive motion, Naruto flung him aside. Orochimaru crashed, limp on the ground, yet to Naruto's surprise, the snake stood up fully restored. In that brief lapse, Orochimaru managed to form hand signs and slam his burning fingertips into Naruto's gut, piercing his guard. Instantly, Naruto's tailed beast form broke apart, returning him to his normal body. On hands and knees, he heard Kurama bark in his mind. Listen here, you little pest, there's only one way for you to win. Orochimaru may have reinforced my seal, but even if you undo it, you won't gain my power. You also need to meditate to pull in cosmic energy, which you can't do mid-fight. Now I'm going to, hey, quit smiling, damn it. Ignoring Kurama's rant, Naruto stood. Orochimaru, it may be exactly what you wanted, but I'll fight you with the power you gave me. Purple flame-like markings spread over Naruto's body, stopping short at his middle fingers. You've never seen my curse mark form, huh? And this is nature energy flowing through it, right? Naruto asked with a grin. Indeed. How did you know? Orochimaru sneered, his arrogant tone returning. Naruto's smile widened as the flame marks sank into his skin. Because I trained with you, used every tool available, and at the same time learned from Jiraiya. Hell, if I wanted, I could have trained with Tsunade too. But that doesn't matter. Jiraiya and I were close to equals, or maybe he wasn't trying, but what he taught me worked perfectly. As Naruto spoke, Orochimaru's confident smirk twisted into rage, while Naruto could almost hear Jiraiya laughing somewhere in the distance, and Minato probably howling in the Shinigami's stomach. Then Naruto's eyes shifted, irises orange, pupils rectangular, orange pigment marking his lids. He taught me Sage Mode. Snakes eat frogs in nature, but this time the frog will crush the snake. Instead of raging, Orochimaru burst into maniacal laughter. So you learned Sage Mode? Big deal, I can still match Jiraiya. Wrong. The toads say I surpassed him. You've never fought Jiraiya in Sage Mode. And thanks to your experiments with Jugo, this curse mark feeds me constant natural energy. Meaning, Naruto vanished from sight in an instant, his voice echoing from nowhere. I will win! Orochimaru swung wildly at the sound but missed. And you, Naruto appeared again, dodging easily, will lose. He kneed Orochimaru in the face, dropping him to the ground. When Orochimaru tried another punch, Naruto countered with a spinning kick to the jaw, sending him crashing down again. The blonde calmly approached. This fight's gone up, down, left, right, just waiting for sideways. Orochimaru lunged, but Naruto dodged and drove a knee into his gut, knocking the air out of him. Hey, Orochimaru, Naruto called to the crumpled man. No answer. Hey, Orochimaru. What? Orochimaru roared in irritation. Just wondering if you're dead yet, Naruto said innocently. As you can see, I am not, Orochimaru shouted back, forcing himself upright. How unlucky for you. Naruto kneed his chin, sending him flying again. Honestly, Sage Mode's getting boring against you. It's obvious I'm way above your level. You remind me of Kakashi, supposed to outclass me, yet I beat him too. Groaning in pain, Orochimaru barely moved as Naruto formed a wood clone surrounded by shadow clones. They sat in a circle, meditating, channeling natural energy into Naruto. Really? You still have to start another technique? Orochimaru screamed in rage. Sage Mode has limits, something you wouldn't know since you can't use it. But with the curse mark's power, my limit's basically gone. Naruto mocked him with a condescending tone. And what makes you so sure I can't use Sage Mode? Orochimaru growled. Because if you could, Naruto vanished again, reappearing with a devastating knee to his gut. "You'd have used it long ago." Their faces nearly touched as Naruto whispered, "Sage mode is far from overrated." Then he headbutted Orochimaru hard, blasting him back 10 feet. Naruto dropped the curse mark, passing the natural energy into his wood clone. Exiting Sage mode, he pulled his goggles over his eyes, now unsealed, awakening the true power of his Dijutsu. "It might take them a little while longer to gather the chakra they need, but I should be able to delay things until then," Naruto muttered under his breath. His gaze shifted away from Orochimaru for a moment, as though admiring the scenery far in the distance. Then he looked back, watching as Orochimaru's regenerative jutsu stitched his body back together. "That immortality trick of yours is nothing but a patchwork fix. Each wound you take weakens the process, which is why you constantly crave a new host. It resets your fragile repairs. And you want me as your vessel? That's unfortunate for you. I suspected this before, but with my eyes, the truth is obvious now." Naruto exposed the serpent's scheme without hesitation. Orochimaru's expression twisted in rage. His plan had been uncovered, and Naruto's Dijutsu only confirmed it. Yet even so, with Sage mode gone, Orochimaru believed the advantage was entirely his. Thinking the fight had turned in his favor, Orochimaru lunged forward, fist cocked back, and swung at Naruto. But the Jinchuriki casually redirected the strike and smashed an elbow into his face, almost as though mocking him. Though Sage mode had faded, Naruto wasn't weakened. He had regained his cosmic energy. He had already mastered balancing chakra and nature energy, but integrating cosmic energy was still a work in progress. So, for the time being, he simply switched between them depending on the situation. "Orochimaru, I was in the middle of reminiscing," Naruto said in a tone dripping with sarcasm. The mockery stung, leaving Orochimaru fuming with humiliation. Still, Naruto had a certain theme to maintain. With that, he created an overwhelming army, 1 billion clones lacking cosmic energy but brimming with purpose. They swarmed Orochimaru from every angle, some even plummeting from the sky. While Orochimaru was preoccupied, Naruto's hands blurred through seals, ending in a firm clasp. Suddenly, colossal trees sprouted throughout the battlefield, clustering around meditating clones. The clones quickly devised a tactic, launching themselves like pinballs off the trees, striking Orochimaru again and again. With countless clones assaulting from all sides at blistering speeds, predicting the next attack was impossible. And then Orochimaru remembered he could summon help. His hands flashed through signs faster than ever before, summoning Manda with a thunderous slam. A vast cloud of smoke erupted, and the titanic serpent instantly crushed dozens of clones. Yet, before the haze could even clear, Naruto drove his cosmic fist into the beast's skull, annihilating it in an instant. Orochimaru's emotions whiplashed, frustration, relief, and back to utter frustration. Naruto wasn't even fighting seriously. He was toying with him, acting as both referee and challenger in his own twisted game. And the worst part was, Orochimaru couldn't anticipate what was next. The relentless flood of clones continued, giving him no room to breathe. High above, perched on the tallest tree of the newly formed forest, Naruto grinned. His ultimate technique was prepared. He was simply waiting for the right moment. In raw power, Orochimaru was still a dangerous foe. But with Naruto's mastery of both Sage mode and cosmic force, the Sannin was reduced to nothing more than another opponent beneath him. Naruto had ascended too high. He needed a rival at his level to truly test himself. But for now, an immortal snake to torment was more than enough entertainment. His clones, though lacking chakra enhancements, all carried his Dijutsu. And against 1,000 angles of vision, Orochimaru was overwhelmed. Still, he thought he'd eventually wear them down. Once the clones had been reduced to Naruto's liking, he unleashed his hidden technique. The entire crater was swallowed in an impenetrable dome of darkness. From his perch, Naruto adjusted his goggles and descended toward Orochimaru. At first, Orochimaru easily shredded through clones, but the instant the darkness engulfed him, everything changed. His vision was useless, the shadows endless. The clones struck from nowhere, already attacking before he could react. Gradually, he recognized their rhythm and regained some ground. But then, all at once, every clone vanished. Silence. Minutes passed. Confusion set in. Why would Naruto simply stop? Orochimaru knew the boy wouldn't release him so easily. Then, creeping dread spread through him. It wasn't just the oppressive blackness. It was something else, an instinctive terror that froze even his survival instincts. He finally understood what prey must feel like in its predator's lair. Orochimaru! Naruto's voice resonated from every direction, embedding itself in the Sannin's skull. He couldn't trace its source. It was as if the darkness itself had spoken. "Where are you?" Orochimaru shouted, desperation lacing his tone. "I've always wondered something." Naruto's musing would sound harmless anywhere else. Here it was bone-chilling. Orochimaru's thoughts raced. Was Naruto imagining how his corpse would look, skewered against the trees? "Just end it already," Orochimaru pleaded. Death would be kinder than this torment. Naruto's mockery proved he could kill him at any instant he desired. Tell me, are you afraid of the dark?" Naruto's voice carried a divine weight, commanding fear like a god passing judgment. In this abyss, Naruto was executioner for every sin Orochimaru had committed. Speechless, Orochimaru realized his only option: escape. He picked a direction and bolted. But within moments, he slammed into something solid and fell. Blinking upward, he saw glowing eyes, rings, crimson, Tamo swirling in their depths. Under normal circumstances, they would be mesmerizing. Now, in endless night, they were death itself. "Orochimaru, watch where you're going, that was rather rude." Naruto's calm tone struck him like a verdict. The snake's instincts screamed. He had disrespected the boy who would kill him. Driven by raw terror, Orochimaru fled again, running until his lungs burned. Believing he'd lost Naruto, he slowed. Then something brushed his face. Expecting a twig, he touched his cheek, blood. A cut so faint he hadn't even noticed it. "I can see in the dark," Naruto whispered into his ear from inches away. Orochimaru nearly collapsed in fright, trying to sprint again. But before he could, Naruto clamped down on his ankle and crushed it like glass. "You can't outrun your fears forever," Naruto roared, lifting the Sannin with one hand and hurling him onto a razor-sharp branch, impaling him through the stomach. "Aghhh!" His scream began in sheer terror, then shifted into excruciating torment. Blood spewed from his mouth, and to his horror, those menacing eyes opened within the bark itself. The wood creaked and split apart, and the limb that had pierced him reshaped into Naruto's arm. The blonde calmly stepped away from the tree. Before the agony could subside, a hand seized his wrist. A finger pressed at the edge of his nail, forcing its way under it, tugging upward. The nail was slowly peeled away, nerve by nerve. Orochimaru clenched his jaw, struggling not to cry out. Perhaps Naruto was taking it too far. Or maybe this was still not enough. To him, it made no difference. What mattered was how he had once recklessly pushed his cosmic powers in training, imagining the strength of others he admired. Too late, he realized their strength came from enduring cruel suffering. His reaction was identical to theirs, except he had locked that dark side of himself away, only unleashing it in moments like this. Lifting Orochimaru high above his head, Naruto released his grip and slammed a fist into his chest. The strike sent the serpent-like man flying into a tree, embedding him deep within the trunk. The blow shattered his sternum and cracked multiple ribs. With that, Naruto allowed his shadow technique to dissolve, and the darkness dispersed. Before the daylight hit him, he adjusted his goggles and triggered the seals inscribed within them. Walking over to Orochimaru, Naruto clasped his hands into the wood-style seal. He leapt back as the tree holding Orochimaru rapidly expanded, and countless other trees shot upward. The battlefield transformed into a massive forest, dense and towering. That should hold him down, especially with his body ruined like that. "Now, where's Kabuto?" Naruto muttered, scanning for the silver-haired medic who might attempt to revive his fallen master. His initial search on foot yielded nothing. So Naruto tapped into the Byakugan he had stolen during the Chunin exams. Though he had never bothered to use it, he understood the basics. Veins bulged at his temples, and his pupils turned pale white. Surveying the area, he spotted Kabuto unconscious, likely struck by a stray blast during the earlier clash. Moving swiftly with wood-style propulsion, Naruto reached him in barely over a minute. A sly grin spread across his face, already imagining a fitting way to dispose of the lackey. 20 minutes later, Kabuto's eyes fluttered open, and the memories of the battle returned in a rush. Lord Orochimaru, he cried, fear and worry surging through him. His master was strong, but even the strongest could fall. Dreaming he cut you open. Relax, you're safe now. Naruto's mocking voice drifted down. Kabuto looked up and saw him perched above, crouched at the rim of a hole. Why am I in a pit? And why can't I move my arms? Panic surged as he realized his limbs were numb, useless, his jutsu sealed away. They're still there, Naruto replied smoothly, though the reassurance did little. Before Kabuto could press for answers, Naruto buried him alive. Now his body will return to the earth. Nature reclaims what's hers. Speaking aloud to himself, Naruto left the site without looking back. Joining his squad once more, they completed their mission and returned home. Inside the Hokage's office. So, you defeated Orochimaru and sealed him inside a giant tree? Tsunade asked, eyebrow raised. MMHM, Naruto answered flatly, sounding almost bored. And Kabuto, you buried him alive, she pressed, skeptical despite knowing his strength. Yup, he replied, tone unchanged. I see. You're dismissed. Tsunade muttered, returning to her paperwork as Naruto walked out. Later, at Namikaze Manor, Naruto meditated for hours before sudden cosmic insight struck him, snapping his eyes open. For a long minute he sat still, unmoving, processing the revelation. He stood, heading to his personal library. Pulling out a worn text on cosmic energy he had discovered years ago, he read it again, whether out of nostalgia or as a reminder. Once finished, he returned to meditation, the book resting on his lap. The pages whipped open and flipped furiously as though a gale tore through the still room. Then, just as suddenly, the book slammed shut. Dark visions filled his mind, crows, bats, shadowed figures, confirming what he had already sensed. Rising, he searched the room almost aimlessly, unsure of what exactly he sought. How the hell am I supposed to move through time? Cosmic energy can't do that. No shinobi technique exists for it either, Naruto muttered under his breath. His need for time travel remained his own mystery, one only solvable once he discovered a way. Another universe must have it. I'll just take what they use. But finding one in the endless expanse won't be simple, and I can't afford to get caught in some garbage multiverse trap. He paced toward the window, gazing outside. Balance them all, he whispered, tugging back his sleeve to glare at the curse mark Orochimaru had left on him. He recalled killing its creator. Time to see what's left of you. Channeling cosmic energy into the mark, his lips curled in disgust. So your followers can restore you from this, even inside me. You twisted bastard. You tried to overwrite me with yourself. Good thing cosmic energy burns your infection out. After erasing the last fragments of Orochimaru's will from his body, Naruto stepped outside, lowering his goggles and deactivating his Dijutsu. Sitting cross-legged, he called upon his chakra, drawing in natural energy, then pulling on cosmic energy. Entering sage mode, orange pigment framed his eyes, then shrank to thin outlines as he balanced the three forces. The sheer power he felt was immense. Opening his cosmic eye, he swept through endless universes, searching for time travel. Countless worlds unfolded before him, one ruled by yokai lurking in the shadows, another where two brothers hunted monsters but constantly met death. Damn, they die a lot, he muttered. He pushed further. At last he found it. Knowledge of that world poured into him, echoing with two clear phrases, the Doctor and his TARDIS. The first thing you notice about the Doctor of War is that he's unarmed. More words, countless iconic sayings, flooding his consciousness. Run. Don't blink, timey-wimey, no more, Gallifrey stands. Allenswy, Geronimo, a good man goes to war, and finally the long declaration. I'm the Doctor, a Time Lord from Gallifrey in the constellation of Castorboris. I'm over 9 centuries old. I will save your lives, and the lives of everyone on the planet below. That second phrase stuck with Naruto, always unarmed, yet Naruto always bore weapons. Did that make him lesser than this doctor? Shaking off the thought, he focused again. The TARDIS, a machine that rewrote time. Using cosmic energy, he forged one for himself. Rising from meditation, he prepared to board it, only to find nothing was there. Strange, why isn't it here yet? Usually when I channel cosmic energy, whatever I summon appears almost instantly. Naruto muttered, looking around in confusion. The TARDIS he called upon should have already arrived. Thinking this was some kind of unusual exception, he sat down to wait. Before long, A deep, echoing groan filled the air, followed by gusts of wind swirling around a form that grew more visible with each second. A faint light pulsed in rhythm with the sound and rushing air, until, finally, a blue police box shimmered into full view with a thud-like hum. The noise, light, and wind all cut off as it settled. Naruto stepped up, grabbed the handle, and tugged, but it didn't budge. Pushing instead, the door creaked open inward. Inside was pitch black. He took a few steps in, and suddenly lights flickered on. Machines whirred to life, bulbs glowed, and mechanical devices began shifting. Heading straight for what appeared to be the main console, Naruto placed his hands on it. A flood of knowledge hit his mind all at once, making him stumble and nearly collapse under the mental overload. Bracing himself against the console, he steadied his breath. "All right, I get it now. I understand what this is and how to use it," Naruto whispered, almost as if reassuring the TARDIS itself. Smaller outside, massive inside. People have said it before, people will say it again. Doesn't matter which comes first. His words sounded half like rambling to himself, half like addressing the ship. With a gesture, his cosmic book shot into his hand, and with a snap of his other fingers, the doors sealed shut. Forming a hand seal, he conjured shadow clones, who immediately began pulling switches and pushing controls. Soon, with a sudden sound, the TARDIS launched into motion, this time without its usual groan. Time and relative dimension in space, TARDIS TARDIS, the real Naruto muttered as he reclined into a chair, while his clones manned the controls with practiced poise. It wasn't long before the vessel reached its stop. Naruto darted out, placed his cosmic book onto a shelf in the library, then rushed back in. The TARDIS shimmered away into the void. Moments later, a loud crash echoed, glass shattering, followed by a body slamming onto the ground. Inside, Naruto leaned against the console, gripping his head, his face twisted in agony as sweat rolled down. His clones vanished one by one, undone by his unstable state. The knowledge and energy surging through his skull were far beyond what his mind could naturally contain. His human brain wasn't meant to store the full understanding of a Time Lord, nor handle the complexities of piloting a TARDIS, especially not on his first attempt while in cosmic sage mode. Had he begun meditating right after absorbing it all, he might have stabilized. But he hadn't. Then a faint recollection sparked. Something similar had happened before, and he remembered a possible fix. "Yes, no, wait, yes," he muttered, arguing with himself before settling on a desperate plan. Gritting his teeth, Naruto sliced off his right hand at the wrist. The limb dropped to the TARDIS floor. Without hesitation, he drove his remaining hand through his own abdomen, intentionally suppressing most of his healing, except for one vital response. The strike missed his spine, which he was silently thankful for. "This should trigger regeneration," he groaned, spitting blood. Golden energy laced with shimmering flecks erupted from his head, arm, stump, and hand, surging violently. The blast of power cracked the TARDIS interior, sparks of purple and blue electricity scattering. For a full minute, the regeneration energy poured into his severed limb, until it suddenly ceased. Exhausted, Naruto collapsed but forced himself up into a seated position, flexing both hands, restored once again. His relief lasted only seconds before sirens blared and the TARDIS jolted violently, crashing down like a plummeting elevator. "Okay, I sort of remember how to fly this thing," he muttered, scrambling to press buttons and pull levers. "It won't dematerialize," he shouted, scanning the room until his gaze fell on the faintly glowing severed hand he'd discarded earlier. Grabbing it, he yanked open the door and hurled it outside. "And stay out," he barked before slamming the door shut. Ignoring the outburst, he resumed control, and this time the TARDIS cooperated, carrying him back home. The discarded hand flew through a bleak land, twisted trees, a sinister-looking academy in the distance, and a red, stagnant body of water nearby. It rolled across the ground until an armored boot stopped it. Its owner bent down and picked it up, a figure identical to Naruto but younger, silver-haired, clad in armor. This other Naruto studied the glowing hand, seemingly receiving a message only he could comprehend. A scythe appeared in his grip, and with a wave, the hand vanished. He looked in the direction of the original Naruto's vanished TARDIS, then sliced the air, opening a portal. Without hesitation, the silver-haired Naruto stepped through as the rift sealed behind him. Back in his TARDIS, The original Naruto rematerialized at his intended point. But before he could react, the doors burst open and hurled him outside as though expelled by unseen force. Stunned, he glared back at the ship. "What the foo?" His words were cut off as dark shadow energy blasted out from the TARDIS. The doors slammed shut and the machine vanished once more. The black energy swirled, condensing into a humanoid form. Slowly, features emerged until its eyes opened, normal whites, but glowing crimson irises slit like a predator's. The surrounding shadow burst away, revealing an identical Naruto with only his eyes different. "And just who the hell are you? Copycat much? Ever heard of originality, dumbass?" Naruto taunted with his usual cocky tone. The shadow duplicate only stared back before lunging and driving a fist into Naruto's face, launching him into a tree. Wiping his mouth as the bruise healed instantly, Naruto smirked. "You hit like a damn truck. Guess you're not a pushover after all." He was stalling for time, his cosmic energy tapped out and meditation not an option. Instead, he activated his curse mark. Crimson markings spread over his arm, spiraling with intensity. Entering sage mode, he advanced on his shadowy twin. Both stood unmoving, locked in a silent face-off, until Naruto abruptly struck, decking the clone across the face. The impact sent shockwaves through the air, shaking trees and scattering leaves, though the dark twin didn't flinch. For the first time in a while, Naruto felt excitement instead of just responsibility. This might actually be fun. Changing tactics, he sprouted wooden branches from his arm, ensnaring the shadow clone inside a dense tree prison. With his double contained, Naruto melded into another tree, traveling through the roots until he reached deep within Namikaze land. Hidden underground, he entered a vast wooden pyramid connected to the forest above, preparing for the next phase of the battle. Through his research, Naruto discovered that pyramids naturally drew in celestial energy, much like how he could channel it himself. Inside this massive structure, built entirely of smaller pyramids stacked and carved into its surface, every breath seemed to pull in cosmic energy. It might have been excessive when constructed, but now it was invaluable. At the core of the pyramid, Naruto sat in deep meditation, pulling from the limitless current of the universe. The flow surged into him at such incredible speeds that blending it with his nature chakra became overwhelming. Within moments, Naruto had slipped into cosmic sage mode once more. Yet instead of acting recklessly, he chose stillness. Naruto wanted to fully comprehend what this power granted him. For the first time, he realized he could feel raw possibility, probability, and potential itself. If he sharpened his focus, reality returned. But when he deliberately released his focus, an odd trick, time slowed, and he glimpsed possible futures. With one glance through his cosmic eye, he saw another world where a mineral-based race naturally wielded this gift. They called it future vision. And with this almost all-knowing sight, he witnessed his counterpart Darkuto ripping free from the tree. In Cosmuto's Naruto, when he wasn't focusing perception, the world crawled at a fraction of its pace, barely a tenth of normal speed. Taking advantage of this, Cosmuto redirected the cosmic eye and continued his meditation. Cosmuto's vision spanned countless universes. He watched muscular warriors breathe strangely and summon inner spirits to clash against one another. He saw children fighting, training, slaying, and even befriending monsters and men alike. He glimpsed a boy being smacked with a loud, circular metal tool by a pink-haired woman, marveling at the practicality of music as a weapon. He observed red-eyed beings devouring others, sometimes even their own kin, locked in endless conflict. He saw it all and it was overwhelming. So instead of drowning in visions, he chose to stockpile cosmic power. He was fermenting in it. Then, with one glance into tomorrow, Naruto rose from his meditation. The glowing third eye on his forehead, its iris ever shifting through colors sealed shut. Looking at his hands, he realized he could now literally see the extent of his strength. His power was godlike. Leaving the Ulti Pyramid, Naruto approached Darkuto, arriving just as his clone broke free. "You can't win. My abilities have surpassed life and death. Even if you overpowered me physically, killing me is impossible," Naruto declared flatly, his tone empty but absolute. Dark felt the force radiating off him, but retreat was never in his nature. His instinct screamed fight. Dark launched forward with a fist so fast that, Though Naruto's eyes tracked it, his body couldn't. That was Dark's terrifying speed. And in that instant, Naruto realized his blunder. He had focused so much on his cosmic eye that he hadn't integrated cosmic sage mode into his body completely. He'd cultivated the energy but failed to adapt to it. It was a rookie mistake, one that could have ended him if not for the automatic defense of cosmic sage mode. Dark's punch froze just inches from Naruto's face, halted by a towering purple figure with flowing hair, holding the fist in place. "Star Platinum," Naruto muttered as Dark unleashed another blow, only for the same being to intercept it. Confused and frustrated, Dark hurled a storm of punches, but none landed. Each one stopped short, as though reality itself denied him. Rage boiled within Darkudo. He couldn't land a single hit, nor could he perceive what shielded Naruto. His glowing eyes burned with both fury and confusion. Naruto knew he could use this. He decided to finish it quickly before Dark adapted. With a glance at Star Platinum, Naruto pointed just as Dark prepared to charge again. A strange echo rippled outward from the stand, then snapped back, and time froze around them. "I can stop time," Naruto whispered in awe, stepping closer to his clone while Star Platinum hovered near. "I know this isn't right. These powers aren't truly mine. I should face you with only my strength. But then again, I like this option much more. So why not? My stand against my double." With that, Naruto's stand surged forward, unleashing the fastest flurry of strikes Naruto had ever seen. Each blow thundered with shockwaves. With every strike, the stand roared, echoing to the rhythm of its barrage, something that both amazed and thrilled Naruto. For 4 relentless seconds, the assault continued, and when time resumed, Dark's body was hurled backward. Limbs burst apart, holes torn through him, and black liquid gushed onto the ground instead of blood. Though reeling, Dark gathered himself, his shattered body reabsorbing the darkness and reforming. Seeing this regeneration, Naruto commanded Star Platinum to strike again, its mighty fists smashing Dark's head, arm, and leg apart before pulverizing the rest of his body into scraps. With his foe in pieces, Naruto calmly sat cross-legged, cosmic energy radiating around him like a violent aurora as his third eye reopened. To buy more time, he froze the world once again. "I don't have the full strength of this stand yet. I need its true power to crush this shadow version." His voice echoed as cosmic energy cloaked him entirely. The aura peeled away, revealing him within the stopped world. Rising, Naruto tested the newfound forces coursing through him. More than I expected, cosmic clones really were genius. Soul Reapers, spiritual pressure, Zanpakuto, surreal to feel it directly. His spiritual pressure flared outward. As time resumed, Darkudo reformed once more, wrath written on his face. Before Dark could attack, a pressure like a tidal wave slammed him into the ground. His body trembled as he struggled under the sheer weight of Naruto's presence. Looking down at him, Naruto spoke coldly. "You're nothing but a copy. Our powers aren't the same. The breadth of cosmic energy eclipses everything. You're not even a parasite. Parasites grant strength. You just mimic mine." Energy swirled in Naruto's palm as he approached. "Be reborn elsewhere. Find your battles there. I'll remain to protect these people." Pressing his glowing hand to Dark's forehead, he erased him in a blinding flash. That was bizarre. Time to test these new skills. Moments later, a massive blaze erupted from Naruto's training ground, devouring the forest until he snuffed it out. His whereabouts afterward remained unknown. His words echoed, though. Protect these people. But from what? From who? And who would fall before Naruto next?